Give me a second just to, I don't know, just to adjust my desktop. Can you hear the noise in the background? That's a Tina chewing on her tea. I'm sure that message there is from the other day. That's not even from this stream. YouTube still broken. Okay, folks, give me a second. I have refreshments. I have a beer sponsor. The beer sponsor is Ivan M, who sent a donation and labelled it beer or anything else that your heart desires. Hello, Joe. Hello, Jack Attack. Was there someone? Oh no, the other one was me. That was from the other day. I don't even know why that message is there. Okay, folks. Cheers to everyone who's here already. People are starting to arrive. 5 already. Thumbs up if you would. Let's give the early crew a shot of her ladyship. First click didn't take. We're back to that again. There she is. I think she just polished off her food and she's onto the water. Any minute now she'll be trying to squeeze through this really narrow gap down here. I'll give you a quick look around the new tent. So, blue roof like before, so we'll still have a heavy blue tint in here. We disguised the tent remarkably like the old one by putting all the tarps back over. I've just had to put this one down a little bit. I was in too much of a silhouette with the sun behind me. So here's all my food stacked in mouse-proof bins. Top 2 drawers aren't mouse-proof, so those aren't food. Those are just general, like bin bags and pens and just general shit. Over here, there's the bedroom. A couple of rucksacks, chest of drawers, some stuff waiting to be reorganised and put away. My bed is off the ground, although you can't see it here. I did get a base in the end, a bed base. And hey David, I did get a bed base and I managed to get both mattresses on and we're off the ground and and there's Tina's little her little elephant chew toy. A little elephant and the bed. And it's all, whoa, let me zoom back out. It's not letting me zoom back out. That's good. It's literally not letting me zoom back out, folks. Well, there we go. Oh, had a heart attack there. And here's the storage room, which is actually a little bit less tidy. It was more organised this morning. I brought a few extra blankets and things in after drying and airing them out. Those are going to be piled there on top of that white quilt and stuff. At the moment they're just in their own pile on the floor. The idea is there's going to be stuff around the edges. So over here is all dog food. They've got, look how much dog food there is. These 2 cases are all dog and dog food. We've got the big bag there, the big purple or maroon bag of dog food. Then I've got a case down there of dry food, rices and pastas and things. Christmas tree, a friend's tools and stuff that I'm saving for him. 3 empty boxes I think over there. And around we go, and over here there's an empty box and some blankets and towels and quilts, and this lot's supposed to be going on top of those, but it wouldn't sit properly. So the idea is that we'll have stuff around the edges, and then there'll be one column of stuff stored in the middle, and then there'll be 2 paths into the room to get in. Oh, down here's the pièce de résistance, my television. And over there is the EcoFlow doing its thing at the minute with the solar panel, still this late in the day. So that is like the potted tour. That's the come on, chat's not coming up. That is the state of play in the new tent. Would you believe this, folks? I've had 2 people come to the tent, stand right outside, and ask me when I'm getting the new tent. That's how good we've camouflaged it. When you look from the road or from this track here, walk down, you can't tell it's a new tent because the old tarps are all in place. So less chance of any bother from authorities. Okay, we're 6 minutes in and I haven't really begun. So let's announce things properly. This is episode 64 of TrampCast. Hold on, let me get this right. We're covering the week ending Sunday, April the 13th. So it's kind of 3 weeks ago up until 2 weeks ago of 2025. This episode is being broadcast Sunday, April the 27th, 2025. The channel is Delta Mike, down and out in Torrevieja. Delta Mike, that's me. Down and out, that's a synonym of homeless, a tramp, a hobo, a vagrant, an indigent person. Vagabond, that's a new one I've added because that's kind of the Spanish word for a tramp, as well as being an English word. A person of no fixed abode, some might say a bum, someone who sleeps rough, on the streets or in a field in my case. Torrevieja, so Delta Mike, down and out in Torrevieja. Torrevieja is a city on the southeast coast of Spain, on the Costa Blanca south. Where am I? This is TrampCast. As I said, episode 64. TrampCast is where we look at the successes, the failures, the other happenings in my life as an English tramp or English homeless guy trapped in Spain by a bizarre set of circumstances, it must be said, but getting used to it now after over 2.5 years. So yeah. Okay. The format of the program. We start in a moment with a numbers round. Still haven't done last week's, I still owe you that. The numbers round, where we look at just some random facts about the episode number. This is episode 64, so some facts involving the number 64. Following that, we shall do the thank yous for the week. The people who have donated via PayPal, link in the description, or, got to get the grift in, folks, or people who came and offered practical help here in the field. Yeah, so many over so much time have helped, including folks, this new tent. I think back to the last time I sat here looking at a new tent, and it's been over a year now, so it did okay in the end. You'll see there's a video to come out of where we emptied the tent, took the old tent down, well, took the tarps off, looked at the tent as it was, without the tarps. It's just the hoops. It's just the frame. It was just the rods, the whatever you want to call them. There was nothing there of the original tent hardly. I did keep the floor, but that's another story. We'll cover that in the video. That video is to come out. I am a bit late getting that out. I haven't really got an ending to it yet. Let me show you, just as an aside while we're here. Let me show you my view out of the tent. This time it took 3 clicks. Can you see the amount of stuff that I've still got kind of outside? Look at that grey thing over there. That's a cover that you would put over a car or a van. And I've still got a few bags of clothes and things out there some need drying, some need sorting, some will be thrown away. There's also my big coffee table, which if you look around the tent as it is now, you'll see there just isn't room for the big coffee table anymore, the big rattan coffee table that the TV sat on. Dadachowski, Chris, hello my friend. But I'll give a quick sweep around again, just for any latecomers. That's the storage room. That's the back wall behind me. I've got some stuff down here on the floor. There's a view around again. Some nice people brought me some food and drink. There's colas and orangeades and water. There were a couple of beers in there, 2 or 3 beers. That was Josie and Peter. I'm anglicising their names because they made that effort with me. They're Dutch actually, so probably Jose and Pieter probably, but I don't know for sure. And over here, this obviously it needs organising. It needs a few things shuffling around still, but yeah, we're getting there, folks. We're getting there. Okay, as I said a few moments ago. Well, let's just do this first. Cheers to you guys, and especially to the donors, to everybody who contributed in the build-up to me purchasing the tent. So cheers to you guys. Cheers to Karen and family for taking my PayPal funny money and buying a tent and bringing it over to me on an airplane. Thank you, you guys. Thank you, Karen and family. Cheers. And cheers to the new tent and all who sail in her. Okay, folks. We begin, as we usually do, with the numbers round. This is episode 64, so some facts about the number 64. See how that works? Let's just make sure that I'm on screen. There. Although the picture you get isn't always the picture I see, I've noticed. When I watch them back, it can be wrong. Don't know why, don't know how that works. But anyway, the number 64 is a square number. It's 8 squared, so 8 by 8. It's also a cube, 4 by 4 by 4. 4 by 4 is 16, times 4, 64. It is also, because of this, it is the first number after the number 1 that is a square and a cube. It's the lowest one of those. Rich, right? Remind me, I think so. Rich. Hello, hello. Okay, it is 2 to the power 6. So 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64. Consequently, it is also in binary written as 1 followed by 6 zeros. So basically a million in binary if you were to read it as a decimal. So as I said, here's one. Its divisors are all of those powers that we just mentioned. So 2 to the power 0 is 1, to the power 1 is 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, and then itself, 64. Those are its only divisors, are the numbers that are the powers of 2. It's the smallest number with 7 divisors. Okay, 64. We said before 8 by 8 is 64. Chessboard, checkers or drafts, whatever you want to call that game. Chessboard is an 8 by 8 grid. Okay, we always have one, almost always, international direct dialing codes. And dialing your international access code, usually 00, but prefixed as a plus on most phones nowadays, followed by the digit 64, that will get you the country, New Zealand. Hello out there, anybody in New Zealand, let me know if you're there. If you see this, chat or comment after. Yeah. Okay, finally, with a few subfactors or subfacts. The periodic table, atomic number 64, gadolinium with the symbol GD. CC, not seen you in a long time. Hello, hello. Gadolinium with the symbol GD. It's a silvery white metal which oxidizes slowly to form a black coating in the presence of oxygen or water. In nature, it's only found in its oxidized forms. It's never found pure. And it usually has, even when you I don't know, what do you call deoxidizing? Is that reducing or is that oxidizing? Can't remember. I'm not a chemistry guy. Anyway, I just read the shit out of Wikipedia and a couple of other sites and add it all together. I curate the knowledge. I don't actually know any of it, or not much of it. But even when you separate it from its oxidized parts, from the oxygen, you're left usually with impurities of other rare earth elements, just because of how rare earth elements work and how they do tend to be found in each other's presence, often within minerals, and no exception here. The name gadolinium comes from a mineral gadolinite, which in terms was in itself, or in turn, was named after the chemist Johann Gadolin, who found and named the gadolinite mineral. Properties or uses: adding 1% gadolinium to iron or chromium makes them a lot more workable and adds a lot of resistance to oxidization of those metals after they're made, especially at high temperatures. And a lot of these rare earth elements end up being used in metal production. Other uses: gadolinium is used as a contrast, an MRI contrast, injected intravenously in a solution. It goes to certain parts of the body and is used to help MRI scans. It's also used, like a lot of the other rare earth metals, nuclear reactors, medical imaging, optical devices, and superconductors. So that's gadolinium with the symbol GD. Atomic number 64 on the periodic table, because this is episode 64, and that was the numbers round for this episode. Tina girl, hey babe. Hello, you got through the gap okay without knocking things. Let's show you her properly. Oh, no, 2 clicks again to get there. Here's my girl. Hey babe. Hey, can I get a cuddle? Can I get a cuddle? No, no cuddle. No cuddle for daddy. ¿Por qué no? ¿Por qué no besitos? Come on, kisses and cuddles. No. I think someone was walking past on the track. So the track runs parallel, roughly speaking, to this side of the tent, and then we've got the main road up at the end of the field there. Okay, folks, those were the numbers. Another quick swig. It's been a busy week. This week in real life, not the week we're talking about. I'm just going off on an aside. It's been a busy week for me with emptying the tent. I spent the last couple of weeks trying to sort through things, and apparently I didn't do a very good job, because when it came time to empty the tent, it took me a lot longer than I was expecting. A day and a half to empty the tent. Let's say an hour or less to deconstruct the tent, an hour to put the new tent back up, by which time my back was killing me, so I had to let Karen's fella do the work, and he he pegged out the tent in the end because I couldn't be bending and twisting. I couldn't be bending and twisting at that point. I was just in too much. You know, I ragged my back. It must be getting on for 3 months ago now. And I'm all right generally, but occasionally I'll just twist wrong. Just do something wrong, and it'll just nag for the rest of the day. And maybe I'll lay down and have a painkiller that night and it'll go away. But I did so much heavy lifting over this last 3 or 4 days. I had to take yesterday off. I did an hour in the morning and then I just declared it a rest day, and which is why there are things still out there. But yeah, it's been busy. No? Hey. Okay, folks. Let's get back to it. Oh, that's how I started. I started saying I was thirsty and because of the hard work. I did a couple of hours this morning before starting my notes for TrampCast. Out in the hot sun. In a field with no shade. Anyway, back to it, folks. Back to it. This is episode 64 of TrampCast, where we look at my life as a homeless guy in Torrevieja in Spain. The Thankyous for the week in question, which was the week ending Sunday, April the 13th, 2025. I got a donation from a guy called Ivar H. Apologies, Ivar. I can't remember whether that's Swedish or Norwegian. I know you're definitely a Scandi. I just can't. I don't recall which flavour. Sorry. Also got a fantastic donation from Ivan M that we've mentioned already, because he mentioned beer or anything else you need. So he's also the beer sponsor for this particular episode. He tells me not to give him thanks, but you know. Both of those last 2 donations that I mentioned there, they get the epithet or the title of that ain't cheap. Good solid donation. So thank you to you two guys for those donations, Ivar and Ivan. Thank you. In the real world, Adela, a friend of mine from back in the before times, before I was homeless, Adela came round to the camp and brought me tortilla, which is what do you call it? Spanish omelette, basically, but lovely and big. And also she brought me a big salad, a big bowl of salad to go with it. So thank you to Adela. My friend Colleen came around and brought a newspaper, the English language freebie newspaper, on in the week in question. And my friend Tom, what can you say? This guy. I don't think I've shown you this yet on video. I've got a big pine dining table outside. He brought it specifically to put outside. I don't think it's going to last long in the sun and the heat and all the dew at night. But he brought it specifically for me to use outside, so that's what it's doing. It's doing good duty out there at the minute for the last 2.5 weeks. Thank you, Tom. He also came and sat and had a beer with me, and we sat and had an hour or so of chatting that evening. So thank you, Tom. I had a visit from a lady called San, called herself San. She'd walked past the day before and seen the state of that end of the tent and how I had a tarp that was all ripped, and that behind the ripped tarp was a ripped wall, and that you could see the exposed bedroom. And she unannounced, she just turned up like the next day, walking her dog. She turned up and brought this big tarpaulin. I didn't know what I was looking at first. It was in a box with a picture of, you know, those inflatable paddling pools, those the big ones, well, inflatable swimming pools. The top ring inflates, and no matter how much water you put in it rises up. That's what the picture was on the box, and it took me a while to work out what I was being offered. But it was a tarp that came with it, that was part of the set, but that she's not using. So thank you to San. Now she sounded English, and I think San might be like a nickname or short for Sandra, but I couldn't possibly comment. But thank you to all of those people. The financial donations and the practical help here in person, bringing things of use, like a table for outside. So now I don't have to make my table on top of this laundry bin. Make my table. Now I don't have to make my coffees and hot chocolates on this laundry bin. I've got a table, and at the minute it's cluttered to buggery because all sorts of kitchen related and cookery related items are on there for cleaning and sorting, and while I try and work out a new home for some of this stuff, because I would say the tent is already full beyond capacity, and there's still a load of stuff to come back in. We will work with it, folks. Anyway, I'm mixing up talking about this week and talking about the week in question. Let's not do that too much. Hey, babe. Hey, babe. Thank you to all those people named Ivar, Ivan, Adela, Colleen, Tom and San. And I'm sure that Karen will have been busy during this particular week as well. In fact, I know she was. So thank you to Karen family, because they got on a plane. This is the week that they brought the tent back. So yeah. There's always Karen in the thank yous on this channel. Ever since we first met during TrampCast 001. She was the second or third person to ever comment in chat. Speaking of which, I'll have a quick look in case I'm missing anything. I suspect I may be. Solitude Circuit wants to come over here to squat. That's what I'm doing. But yeah. Okay, folks, I think I'm up to date with all of that now. Solitude Circuit. I don't think I've seen your name before. Are you an old subscriber who's been lurking, or a newcomer? Say hello. Tell us more. Okay, folks, if you wouldn't mind, a thumbs up would be appreciated. If you haven't already, consider subscribing. If you've seen 2 or 3 of my videos already and you think you might want to see more, hit the button. It helps the channel, and it also helps you not to miss any of my fantastic reportage, my reporting of my life and my circumstances, and sometimes my changes of circumstances. There's a donate link, a PayPal donate link in this description. No obligation, but just to let you know there's one there if you were of a mind to help. If you're here now, make sure that you're watching live. Sometimes you can join these live streams and you can be 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes behind. You're looking for the word live and a red dot next to it in the bottom left hand corner. I think the bottom left hand corner is this one. But I tried that the other day and it didn't reverse the way that I thought it was going to reverse. So I don't know. Don't know my left from my right. Not when the camera reverses things. Okay, what else? Oh, if you're here now in chat, you want to select all messages. Don't be using just top chat. It will filter things out. If some of us get a little bit sweary or say naughty words, you might not see the chat messages, and I want to see all the chat messages, so I recommend that for you guys as well. Likewise, if you're watching this on the rebound, if you're watching this on the replay another day, if you're not watching on Sunday, you're watching through the week, enable chat replay. Then you can watch along and you can see chat as it happens, and you don't need to rely on me reading out what people are saying, because I will often just reply to them and answer them and not read out their message. I'm not very good at this YouTuber yet. Ideally, I would read out the messages and then respond, but I don't always. I try. No. Hey, babe. Tina girl. It's just voices in the distance. It's just women with screechy, high-pitched voices. It's okay. Oh, and some children. It's okay. You don't get to eat the children today. Maybe another day. Okay, folks, where was I? Chat replay. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so that was the thank yous. Next is the themes for the week, if there were any. Mainly, well, there's a couple actually, but mainly it was sorting and getting ready. I knew Karen had picked up the tent and was about to fly back out here. We weren't sure exactly when we were going to get to put it up, and it didn't happen straight away. But yeah. So me preparing, sorting, trying to. I had a lot of junk piled up, especially in this storage room, but also things were getting piled knee deep in other places as well. And we'd had a lot of rain over the month or so prior, and unbeknownst to me, a lot of things were really wet. So bags of clothes where water had got in. So I was trying to sort through and filter through and bring some things out to dry. If you remember, my book that we do TrampCast from with all these notes had got wet, and I was trying to dry that out. Things like that. I was trying to dry things out, sort things out, reduce the workload for later for when we did put the tent up. I failed miserably. I have to hold my hands up and say I was rubbish. Karen and her hubby, they're brutal when it comes to looking at things and saying that can go, that can go, that can go. I'm reluctant to throw things away that have been donated to me by other people. If I can remember who gave it to me and when, I'm not going to throw it away. Even if it's no longer of use, or even if I've got 7 blankets, 3 or 4 quilts, 3 sleeping bags, 6 or 7 jackets, coats for going out in the rain. So a lot of people will just assume, and they don't ask what I need. They just come along, and in the bag there'll be a jacket, a blanket, and I've been at this a little while now. When I first arrived in the field, I had nothing. Now it's safe to assume I've got 6 of everything. Yeah, if you're in the area and you want to bring stuff, maybe ask first, and maybe I can save you some money so that you're not buying things and giving me things that I'm either not going to use, or that I don't need, or that I've already got 7 of. Maybe. I don't want to sound like an ingrate. I am grateful for every contribution, every donation, but like I said, I've been at this a while now, and a lot of people have already donated and brought things. Yeah. So anyway, all of that sorting and getting ready for the new tent. Now here's an unusual theme for the week. The guy the other side of the field that just came by and looked like he wanted to talk, and I had to try and wave him away, because I'm busy here talking to you folks and you're more important. He did a couple of strange things in the week in question. This one, if you were there for one of the TrampCast hangouts, which I seem to have started to do. They're supposed to be random, but they seem to be Sunday nights guaranteed. If you fancy one later, we'll think about it. But let's see. But for now, I'm talking about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And Pepe is called, the Spanish guy who lives the other side of the field. Not in the field, but just outside the field on the other side. He walked, after I'd done the TrampCast the Sunday, right at the start, the end of the previous week, at the beginning of the period we're about to talk about. He walked past here, and I heard like ceramic rubbing. And when I went out and looked, he's walking up the field, and he's walking off with this big fuck off brick that I've got. I've got a pile of them. They used to support my bed. I had 4 piles of bricks, 2 cross beams, 4 planks across the cross beams. And so these piles of bricks are there because potentially one day, just in case, I'm not going to get rid of them. You'll notice a theme here, guys. Like when I have a difficulty throwing stuff away, I keep things just in case. I got to be careful with that in later life. That could lead to hoarding. At the minute, it's proper prepper kind of situation just because of the situation I'm in. But he's walking off with one of my fucking bricks. It's as big as about 4 house bricks, but more hollow. But he's walking up the field with it. My fucking brick. Not his brick. Did he ask first? Did he explain why he needed it? No. And the next day, he walked past here again with just a carrier bag in his hand, and when he got to the top of the field, he had a brick in his hand. Did he take a second brick? Or had he dropped the first one off somewhere and picked it up halfway up the field the next day? What the fuck is this? Just him in general. A few weeks running up to the week that we're talking about, he'd been here more and more and more, using my gas, asking me to charge his phone. When his phone broke, asking if he could borrow my watch and a radio and... Brickgate, yeah, Moonhawk, hello. Who steals a brick from someone? Like the pile's 3 or 4 meters from the tent. When he picked it up, I heard it. I heard the clay, the ceramic rubbing against, brick rubbing against brick. I didn't know what it was when I first heard it. When I got that, who does that? Why do that? Why not ask? So he ends up becoming a theme of the week just because it's not excessively annoying, it's just a bit of a cheek, a bit of a liberty. He came here one night and sat at my nice new big pine table to eat a baguette and I can't remember whether it was cheese or anchovies or whatever. He sat at my table and chair. He wasn't cooking anything, he wasn't doing anything. He just presumed, he came here, made his presence felt, I came out and said hello, and then he walked over and sat down at my table. I get the impression he doesn't even have a knife in his tent. He has no means of cooking. He's been here a year, and he's working, he's got money in his pocket. He's working, got money in his pocket, but has no way of cooking, not even a little camp stove, nothing. And as far as I can tell, no pans, plates, knives, forks, nothing. He wanted to cut his bread and spread his cheese, whatever it's called, cheese spread, He needs to sit at my table and use my knives. Bread knife to cut the bread and a normal knife to spread the cheese. I don't know, folks. I don't know. So that became a theme of the week. And I've just ranted about it already. All these details I should have been giving you in the rundown of the week. But I've told you it all already, I guess. And finally, I guess this is a non-theme of the week. After 3 months of being plagued, can he peel an orange while it's still in his pocket? Yeah, and you never see his wallet either. Yeah, the moths would come out if you took it out. Yeah. What was I saying? Oh, after 3 months we've been plagued by mice, and the week that we covered when we talked last week was where we got the traps and we killed, was it 9 in the first week, 6 in one night, 2 another night, and 1 on one of the mornings. So we got 9 that week. The week we're talking about here, the week ending April the 13th, 2025, 1 mouse, just 1. And that was late on in the week, the Friday or the Saturday, not sure which, but it was late on in the week. So the mice became almost a non-issue. Unfortunately, that's the way it stayed. And now we've got new coverings on the floor. The old rug that was in the old tent is now under my feet, turned upside down, to soften. Well, it's an extra barrier against mice. It also softens any friction between the bottom of the tent and any stones or pebbles on the ground. That's reduced by having a carpet under there. I also kept the bottom of the old tent. So I think we turned it around and spun it over, spun it around and turned it over, so that any holes that were there from mouse holes under the ground are not aligned with those holes. We put some stones in mouse holes that we could see and trampled the ground a bit. Did everything okay with the new tent? Josie, hello. We were talking about you earlier. Did everything go okay? Yeah, the new tent is up. Most of what I'm bringing back in is in. I've got a little bit of organising to do. I've still got a few things to bring in, but everything's gone brilliant. Josie and her husband arrived that morning, not knowing that we were doing the tent thing, and they brought the bag of food and drink that I showed earlier in the show. And there's a load of other stuff. There was cheese and boiled ham, and I think there's some serrano, bacon bits. Thank you. You'll have to wait a couple of weeks for the proper thank you, because we're discussing a different week. But yeah, the tent is here. It's fantastic, and it's already over full and becoming a little bit disorganized. Doesn't take me long. Doesn't take me long to get disorganized, especially with my girl Tina. For anyone arriving late, I'll give you a quick run around the inside. I know people will be arriving late, so I'm sat here looking out of this door to the big grey thing there, where some of my things are still stored. So that's looking outside. Still got things to do. In here, this is my storeroom, where lots and lots of dog food, including from Josie and her husband. There, that purple, the burgundy bag there, 18 kilograms, folks, huge. But this is where things are stored. I'm trying to leave myself a pathway in. This is the bag the tent came in, quite a big bag. It's got the poles from the old tent in case I ever need something like that, and a few tools and things. We got a lot of blankets and things stored, and blankets, towels, and coats. We've got some jackets and things. Lots of storage there. I'm sat here. I'll try and show this. Let me try and do this. I'm sat here in my wingback chair. Around here, we put all the old tarpaulins back over, so that from the road it doesn't look any different. Over the side, this side and the top, in particular, but also at the far end where the tools were. Here's the bedroom. The bed is now off the ground. You can't really tell, but it's a good couple of inches off the ground. We got two bed frames in there. One from a single bed and one that looks like half a bed, like a child's bed. So there's the bedroom, complete with Tina's cuddly toy. Chest of drawers. Over there's a box that would be my bedside table, but I had to remove the chopping board. Can you see here, this chopping board? This chopping board is my bedside table. So we've removed that from there, so it looks a little bit more untidy than it should. That far right hand corner over there, I know to you this might even be reversed, I'm not sure. That corner over there, behind the chest of drawers, is the coolest part of the tent. So that's where the kind of the silver foil supermarket bag with cold food or bacon and margarine and butter is currently over there. Outside, I do have a cool box, an electric cool box that I will be starting using in the next week. That will be powered by my EcoFlow River, which is the gadget there on the cardboard box in the corner. Here we have a Tina. Over here is all my food storage, the stuff, the fresh food and stuff that can sit in drawers. The bottom couple of drawers down there are full of pastas and rices and similarly dried goods. I think there's flour and breadcrumbs and stuff. Over here, behind Tina's head, there's a tray of onions, a tray of potatoes, and various jars and sauces. Need sorting out, needs fixing, needs sorting. And over here, randomly, is just the things like that Josie brought, and some other random. I think these are mainly what Josie and her husband brought. No, that's a random bag I've brought in. These two are from Josie and Peter. If I'm getting the names right, tell me if I'm not. I'm terrible at this. Okay, folks, that's a quick look around the tent. I would show it to you from outside, but you can't really see it because it's got all the old tarps over it. Let me see whether I can just oh gosh, let me see whether I'm gonna mess this up, aren't I? Let me see whether I can give you a quick run around, because people are curious. Oh, and you guys, you guys paid for it. So let's have a quick look. See you in September. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Oh, I put my hand over the camera before reversing it to the other. I don't know how well is this going to show with the sun directly behind it? Is it all just in silhouette? Let me show you from the road, from the main road. You see, it just looks like the old tent. It's got two blue tarps. It's disguised entirely. That was to avoid attention from the police, basically, and neighbours. Basically, if you're just walking past, if you're disinterested, you're walking or driving past, either on the main road at the top or this little track just over the hedge here, you won't notice. You won't be able to tell. This is a Sorrento 600 XL, apparently. And there's these other little symbols telling you things that I don't know. Yeah, whatever. Now we had to put a specific way around, because there's only, so here's the doorway. To the left of the doorway, you've got this little port for allowing the solar panel, the wire in from the solar. They've only got that on this one side. So we couldn't put the tent the other way around. We had to work out which way around, because the solar panel's here. But look at the colour of it, folks. It's a deep kind of petrol, like a dark turquoise or a petrol, I guess it's been described as. But we've actually got walls on the side of the tent. We've actually got walls. Like, if you remember the old tent, this wall was gone. This wall was missing. The doorway was here rather than a window. The windows and doors are the opposite way around on this one. But the door wasn't functional. Then to the left of the door we had a slit running from ceiling to floor. All of the roof was missing. The roof was missing entirely. But look at this now, folks. We got this rug outside. So as you come as you're walking in past the solar panel, we got this rug. And then we've got this, we had this before, but I had to clean it up a bit. We got this here, and step in. That's to take any mud or whatever off the feet on the way in. Somewhere I've got a like a welcome mat that I'll put inside the door once I find it. And this is the living room, which you couldn't properly see before because I was sat in it facing out. But here's the view. There's a Tina, and here's the living room, and obviously you can see through to the bedroom. But you see how far that tarp comes down on the other side. So anybody driving past on that road, they just see the tarp, unless I lift it up for a bit of extra ventilation. But even then, all they're seeing is an open door and a window, so they don't get a view. They don't get a great sight that it's like a new tent. They don't get any extra information. And there's bushes out here anyway, so lower down they don't get to see anything low down. The hole in the roof was more than a hole in the roof. I just read there. Hold on. It was more hole than roof. Yeah, the roof was gone. The roof was gone. Oh, here we go. So there is a video coming out, like I said, folks, there's a video coming out showing the process. Oh, I've got a bad back. I've got to be careful with this back. I'm taking more painkillers than I think I've ever taken in my life. The day that we did the work, I say we did the work, Karen's husband did. At the end, he was the only one, well, he was the one doing the work. I was standing and supervising. He was asking me, he was asking for decisions. Do you want it this way? Do you want it that way? Do you want this? Do you want that? But I took 5 painkillers that day, and I don't think I've ever done that before in my life. 5 painkillers in one day. And a day or so ago, I found some painkillers that I had stashed away. And these are, well, there's some paracetamol and there's some ibuprofen. The paracetamol are a full gram. You're not measuring, there's no messing about with 200 milligrams or 100 milligrams or any of that rubbish. They're a full gram. And the last couple of nights I've been taking one of those as I lay down and stretch out. I've never taken painkillers like this in my life. And then I'm walking Tina, and Tina will twist or do something, and I'm carrying her back end. And if she makes me twist funny, she jarred my back this morning just walking her. Yeah, love it a bit, but she's I was going to say a pain in the ass. It's a little bit higher. Let's have a look. Let's have a quick look. Let me catch up. I'll just go back. Hold on. Oh wow, there's so much. Okay, there was Josie saying that no thanks were needed. Okay. Tim and this was him just arriving, I think. Great to see you, Tina, and crew there now. Will you be switching to portrait mode later, Chief? Not if I can avoid it. I didn't like the portrait mode. Oh, the number of views was incredible. I mean, the number of people that dropped in for a look when I did the TrampCast Hangout and it was in portrait mode. It got hundreds, like before we'd even finished, there'd been 200 people dropping in. But the vast majority looked in, had no idea what was going on. Because if you drop into my Hangout midstream and you've never seen me before, you don't know the story. I'm just a bloke laid down in bed nattering away. I can't recap every 5 minutes. Hello, I'm a tramp. This is this. Oh yeah, Englishman trapped in Spain. Banks, what a bunch of bastards. I can't do that every 5 minutes. So they pop in, see it, and leave. So it gets a lot of it. YouTube seems to push a lot of people in. They don't stick. Now, whether the fact that they've been in means they're more likely to be presented with my other videos in future, and that it might pay off with subscribers in the longer term, I don't know. But I didn't see any real benefit at that time. So no, I don't know about whether I will go portrait mode. The new Tensor Stunner, it's fantastic, and we got a deal with it. We got a discount because it was the display model. And so what if it's a display model? It's not going to have like experienced harsh winds or extreme ultraviolet inside the shop. So yeah, whatever. It's an interesting life indeed. Indeed. Did me and Tina put it up alone? No. Karen and her fella came by. There's Josie saying see you in September. Yeah. Happy to see this live Newcastle, or is it Castillo? Yeah, you know, the Spanish, yeah. I know nothing about brands of tents and specific models, but it's a little bit smaller than the old one in both dimensions, and I notice it particularly around the bedroom. If I point you back that way just for a minute. Oh, 2 clicks to get there. Okay, so the bed is hard up against the left edge, and it's way over past the halfway mark. With the old tent, you could have literally got 2 of these mattresses side by side. This one, there's a lot less. We didn't. We only had the one, but I had this row of like the chest of drawers was there and some bags and things, and I had much more of a walkway down the side. With this, I have to either step on the bed or just step inside here by these rucksacks, and then just sit immediately down and shuffle up. There's a lot less, not a lot less, but it's just noticeable how much less room there is. Before it was manageable room. This is just a little bit under, but then it's my choice. I put the chest of drawers there, didn't I? I need to sort all of those out, but we'll get there. We'll get there. Oh, no. Let me. What else? Let me catch up on chat before we get going on the main. Glad the rain is gone. Yeah. Hopefully that's it now until October, whenever it is that the rains come. Late September, early October. And hopefully even then it's not a gota frio. I don't want heavy rain. There's Thomas. Hello, Thomas. We have what it sounds silly, Timony, doesn't it? Celebrating the fact that I've got a tent that's got walls. But it has. It's got fabric on the walls and it's got fabric on the roof. I've gone, is it 6 months since the roof blew away? I think it is. I think we only got 6 months or 6 or 7 months of usable tent out of the last one. And from then on it was just all it's all tarpaulins. We were just using the frame of the tent. We were just using the poles as a framework to hang tarpaulins on. Well, yeah, I think I'm caught up. Hold on. Well, I've seen. I just need to work forward. Yeah, good friends to help me put the tent up. Fantastic. And to bring it into the country from the UK. And to buy it on a discount as well and save me money. Thomas says, it always figured paracetamol was mostly filler. It's a gram of active, of the active ingredient, whatever that is. Acetaminophen or whatever it's called, the proper real ingredient. It's a big tablet. It's actually the tablet is it's meant to be put in water and it effervesces, it fizzes. Well, I've just been putting them. I bite it in half and put half under my tongue and half on top of my tongue. To be honest, the ibuprofen would probably be better for a bad back. It's just paracetamol was what I had to hand until a couple of days ago. I think ibuprofen do more of a job of reducing swelling, which is usually what's more involved in backache. Certain membranes rub together and inflame, and it's the swelling that causes the pain, or the rubbing and the swelling. Take the swelling away and remove the pain. A tremendous adobe you've got there, luxurious and plush. Yeah, I mean we're still in the moving in phase. Then we'll have like the honeymoon phase where everything's perfect. The last tent lasted 2 weeks before Tina broke something with it. 2 weeks, and within 6 months it was in tatters and had no roof and splits down walls. We haven't quite got to the honeymoon phase yet. We haven't even started noticing the little bits that are probably wrong or bad. 1 or 2 niggles, and there are 1 or 2 little issues that I find a little strange, but that might just be me doing something wrong. For example, the door behind me has got the external door and also a mosquito net, a mesh. The main door hasn't, which I knew that when we bought it. I knew that, but when you roll them up, there's only the loops to hook one of them up. It's a real struggle to try and hook them both away. It's like they want you to to pick one or the other. You're either going to put the mosquito net up and leave the main door in place, or put the main door up and leave the mosquito net in place. They don't want you to hook both. They don't seem to be the loops to do it. I think that's the main... Or when we bought it, the bedrooms were already inside and hooked up. It had all been folded away because it'd been in display in the shop. And when we put it up, the bedroom sagged. The back walls sagged in a bit much. But I worked it out. I had to go outside and tighten the fastening where it was pegged out. It was pegged out fine, but there was an adjuster for pulling the fabric tighter, which pulled the bedroom fabric tighter. So I worked that out. We get that. 6 months since the roof blew away. I think so, yeah. Ever seen any UFO activity? There's a question, Moonhawk. My first 2 months living rough, I was literally sleeping outside with just a bedroll. 3 months maybe. Laying on my back looking up at the sky a lot. So an awful lot of movement. The thing is nowadays... Tina girl, quiet. The thing is nowadays, if you lie on your back and look up in the sky for an hour, you're guaranteed to see movement from either high planes or Starlink satellites. Well, satellites in general, but Musk's put up thousands of satellites. Before there was a few hundred satellites for the whole world. Musk's gone and put up like 10,000 just for Starlink. And a lot of them are shiny and they glow and reflect the sun from over the horizon. So I see a lot of movement, but nothing that I could like categorically say is suspiciously alien. Have you readjusted? I went around the day after and tensioned things a little bit, yeah. I know that everything is going to stretch a little bit over the first few days. I was a bit taken aback once looking up and I couldn't work something out. There was this like glowing cloud at night. And it took me I'm embarrassed to say this. I've told the tale of the bloke that rang 999 in the UK about a glowing object in the sky, and it turned out it was the moon. But I had a similar thing where it was a clear sky, and then there was this glowing cloud. It's a fucking Milky Way, wasn't it? I'm just not used to seeing it. What had happened was the street lights had failed, and it was darker. And so, whereas normally here, light pollution stops you seeing the Milky Way, suddenly there it was. A band of kind of glowing cloud. Yeah, 20 minutes to work it. I've been darker places before and seen it, but it just doesn't happen here normally. You can see the International Space Station. That you can get apps that will tell you what's due to fly over and when. You can set your phone up to give you alerts saying, hey, in 2 minutes it's going to approach, it's going to be in that direction, it's going to fly, and it tells you how high in the sky. Is it just over the horizon or is it right overhead? And it tells you how long it will be visible. You got to turn your GPS on for it to work kind of accurately. But yeah. Okay, folks, it's great chatting with you all, but I've got a job to do here. I'm in the middle of a TrampCast proper. We're supposed to be detailing the events of a specific week. Let's get back to it. Oh, speaking of back. Oh, my back. Okay, where were we? We did the themes of the week, didn't we? We did the themes of the week. So we're about to start the week proper. So let's just reintroduce, because we're over an hour. Oh yeah, Amsterdam. Once you're in this big city, light pollution is going to make everything difficult to see. I struggle here sometimes just to see the plough, the Great Bear, the Big Dipper, whatever you want to call it. Some nights there's just so much light. It might be clearer here than other places, but it's still too much light around at times. When I first came to Torrevieja, A lot of the lights used to go dim or even turn off at 1 in the morning or at midnight even in some places. Doesn't seem to happen now. Don't know. Anyway, folks, this is episode 64 of TrampCast. We are discussing the week ending Sunday, April the 13th, 2025. We're broadcasting this episode on April the 27th, 2025. So we're talking about the week that started 3 weeks ago and ended 2 weeks ago. Let's think. Where are we? Here we go then. Let's start, folks. We're on over an hour and 5. So we start as we often do with the Sunday after the TrampCast that would have been, you know, on that Sunday night. So we broadcast TrampCast 61 061, and as we ended that, I was sat. I think I was in this chair, stiff legs, and I got all this stuff piled up on the podium. You know, I've got it's a laundry bin, a chopping board. I've got my book, my notebook, and whatever drinks I had at the time. You're on the top of a tub of dog food, and then the phone stand. Got to deconstruct all this and put everything back where it belongs. Like the chopping board, I got to put it back by my bed and then put everything back on top that lives on top. And then I had a big pile of clothes on the bed, 2 or 3 big bin liners. Had to bring those back out, put them in the chair. Lots of fetching and carrying and bending and twisting when I already had legs that were aching just from being sat down a long time. So yeah, I had to crack on. Now I'd left the, this was the weekend I was trying to cook some baked potatoes, jacket potatoes in the slow cooker. And I'd left the slow cooker on, and it had drained the EcoFlow, and it had drained it further than it should have. It's supposed to drain down to 30 and stop, and then the solar panel will recharge it. It didn't, it kept going. And it's only because I noticed it and stopped it that we were able to rebuild up and get a little bit of power into the EcoFlow before night time. We ended up on 43%, I think it is. Yeah, oops, I've written in my notes. Now 43 will get me through the night, most nights, but if the next day isn't sunny, that could be a struggle. But yeah. Now, as I've said already, this was the evening after we finished, and I finally get settled down. I have a lay down and put a video on or something just to relax and ease my back. This was when I heard ceramic on ceramic and looked out and saw the other guy in the field walking up the field with the carrying one of my bricks. As I said already, just what the absolute. Why are you stealing my bricks? I keep them in case I might have needed them to prop the bed up or to do this or that or the other. You know, they're not his. You should ask. Strange behaviour, but you know. Later on, I take Tina for a walk and know it's a particularly clear sky, but also warm. So I'm not fearful about lots of dew and condensation and stuff. It's a very warm night. I think almost 20 degrees still at midnight that particular night. But by midnight, I was busy again because we did a TrampCast hangout. Me and some of you guys. We sat and chatted and chewed the cud and just talked about random topics that came up. It's impressive that you have a slow cooker, says Tim Timony. Again, Karen, you know, my friend Karen. Once I got the EcoFlow, I guess there was a bit of a push to look. So I got the solar panel on the EcoFlow. I couldn't afford them. I got a loan from a friend. I bought the EcoFlow outright. After I bought the previous tent, you guys had been so generous that there was enough money left over, and I'd been discussing it for a while, and I asked in chat, you know, in a video, and asked, what did people think? Would anybody object if I used the money that was left over to get one of these things? and I had the 2 small solar panels. But a friend helped me buy the larger solar panel. And then the question was, well, what to do with all this extra power? So the same friend helped me buy the cool box. The question was, what would revolutionize your life? Now that you've got the solar panel and more power than you know what to do with, what are you going to do with it? What could you do with it? What would be the biggest gain in your life during a hot summer? And yeah, the cool box, the electric cool box. A few weeks ago, I think I was a bit dismissive of it. I didn't remember the performance. Now, maybe in my mind I was comparing it to a proper fridge, and I was disappointed it wasn't getting down below like 10 degrees, down towards 3 degrees or 5 degrees, whatever temperature a fridge actually hits. But I watched a video back a few days ago of when I first got it, and I put a thermometer inside. And inside the tent here where the box was sat was like 37 or 38 degrees Celsius. And inside the box was down around 14 or 15. Now that's 14 or 15 could still be precarious for some foods, but it should be able to keep, like butter and margarine, it should keep them solid. It should, for example, but bad example, I know, but it'll give me a cooler beer than just having the beer sat in the coolest corner of the tent. It would keep things colder. If I had this running and one of my friends brought me, say, a 2-litre pop bottle filled with frozen water, filled with ice, and that was put in, with that running, in addition to the ice, it should be able to keep stuff properly cool. It should go a lot cooler. We should be able to get down around 5 degrees or below, maybe. So I'm going to, it needs a good clean out. Well, inside and out needs cleaning. I'm going to set it up this week and have another go. But also, the question became, well, okay, now you've got the EcoFlow and the cool box. What else? What else could you use? And the slow cooker was a great idea. I've had some good soups and stews and things from it. I've made jacket potatoes, baked potatoes before. But this last time, I think I put too many in. I also think I didn't create good enough insulation around the top. I also think there might be a slightly strange breed of potato, because I tried actually cooking with them and didn't get great results. They were a lot harder still. They needed a lot longer to cook than I would usually do, even on the outside, even cooking over gas in a frying pan. So yeah, anyway, look at this. That's a long ramble for a quick question in chat. Chilled potatoes. Yeah, it also heats up. The box can be used to keep food warm as well if you do that. It goes both ways. Ooh, missus. Okay, where was I, folks? Warm night, 20 degrees at midnight. Okay, so that was the end of that Sunday night. We did the TrampCast hangout, I think, and hung out. Yeah, we only did 2 hours. It was a relatively short, but some of my TrampCast hangouts have been 5 hours, folks. There was one week I did the normal TrampCast of about 2.5 hours, and then we went off and did like 4 or 5 hours of TrampCast hangout just 2 or 3 hours later. Good fun. Good fun. Join in with us. I don't give a lot of notice. There's no fixed topic. It's just questions and answers and whatever topics come to mind. Whatever, it can be whatever's in the news or whatever. Maybe want to avoid politics too in depth. Touch on it maybe. Religion's another one. Don't mind touching on it. Don't want to get in depth and start having arguments and things. But a friendly hangout, just you and me. Just the two of us. And I'm in bed. What more could you want? Get on it, doggone it. We shall do one tonight, somewhere between 10:30 and 11, probably. No promises, but probably. And if it's dead, if there's nobody there, we'll end it we'll end it sooner. No harm, no foul. No obligations on either side. Okay, folks, that was Sunday night. Into Monday morning. and I got the solar out at 9 a.m. and immediately picking up 50 watts. And remembering this is only just after the clock changes, so that the 9 a.m. would really, a week or two earlier, would have been 8 a.m. and we were already getting power in. And the EcoFlow had dropped to 24% overnight. Remember, I'd messed up the day before and we'd been on 43% overnight at the start of the night. Generally used between 20 and 25% overnight, depending on whether I'm awake watching videos all night or whatever. I've mentioned the phone's quite a heavy draw. It is a it is a top end Samsung. What's it called? A Z Flip something or other. King of the Tramps, folks. King of the. Did I show you my Christmas tree? That's electric. Yeah. Well, I forgot that's electric. Let's list everything that I've got that's electric. I got some fairy lights hanging up over there, powered by some AA batteries, rechargeable. I've got a head torch. It takes 3 AAAs that are rechargeable. The EcoFlow takes care of all of this. I've got a lantern on top of the EcoFlow there, charging currently. Charges directly via USB. I've got an electric fly killer. Works directly from USB. I've got 2 sets of hair clippers. One of which powered by USB, one of which has to plug in for the 220 volts alternating current, which the EcoFlow provides. I've got a Christmas tree that works, plugs in to the 220 volts. The slow cooker that we've mentioned, that uses the 220 volts. What am I missing? I've mentioned the cool box. Loads of other stuff. Then my tablets and things are all tablet. I've got a tablet and a phone. I've got 2 Bluetooth speakers that have been donated to me over the months that recharge from the USB on the EcoFlow. Lots and lots and lots. And I know I'm probably. Oh, I've got an electric blanket. It arrived late in the winter from my friends Adam and Mel. Don't think I've seen them here yet today. They might be lurking in the background. Maybe me mentioning them will bring them out of lurker mode. No, not so far. But they brought me an electric blanket. I knew there'd be something I was missing. That uses the 220 volts AC. So I've got so much that the EcoFlow does for me. There are times now when there are some things where I wonder whether I shouldn't have got a bigger, better one. A few weeks ago, I thought I saw a fridge up by the bins. Turns out it was a freezer. The EcoFlow couldn't handle the compressor kicking in. Wouldn't do it. I think if it had been a fridge, I think we might have stood a chance. But a freezer, no. I should have opened the doors and looked in before taking the EcoFlow. That's the great thing about the EcoFlow, folks. I can unplug everything here, carry if you see something like a fridge or a freezer, I can bring the EcoFlow up to the device by the roadside or by the bins, plug them in and see whether they work. Oh, television. I didn't mention my television. It's the first thing I got. I got the EcoFlow and we saw a television by the roadside. Picked it up, brought it here, it works. Can you use a 3-pit gas stove? I think we're suffering with a translation error. I'm not... gas stove? What, a 3-ring gas stove? Are you kidding? I've currently got 1 gas ring out there. Could I use a 3-ring? I don't know. That might be overkill. That might be too much. I don't know. It's tempting, isn't it? I don't know. Let me think on that one. I don't know. That's that orangery you're sitting in is class. Are you commenting on the chair? I'm not sure where you're going with that. Where was I, folks? Where was I? I gotta get back to it, or we'll never finish. Oh, camping thing. So what kind of gas bottle does it connect to a proper gas bottle, or is it the small camping stove type ones? Because those are expensive for the gas. I don't know. Where am I, folks? I've gone off on one about electric and stuff, haven't I? Walked off with a break. Okay. So I think the last thing we talked about was... Oh, no, okay. The last thing I mentioned was that the EcoFlow was on 24% overnight and we got it up to 40%. I'll come back to you, folks. Let me get on. I need to crack on with this or we'll never get there. So this, after we got the EcoFlow up to 40%, this was when Pepe, the Spanish guy, walked past again. And he walked past just carrying a bag. But when he got to the top of the field, he had the brick again. And I don't know whether it was the same brick or whether he'd taken a second one. I don't know. But I'm puzzled by the whole brick episode and I'm a little bit annoyed. Anyway, he's gone, he's in the distance, he's away. There's nothing I can do about it now. So I lay down with my doggy on the bed and I watched the previous night's TrampCast 061. Took a little break halfway through. At 11 o'clock, the EcoFlow was on 85%. So getting up towards being full. So I started cooking the potatoes again, carrying on cooking the potatoes from the day before. Yeah, and that was basically it. I'm laying down with the dog, just watching videos. The EcoFlow's doing its thing, cooking, starting and stopping cooking, because when it's on full blast, the slow cooker takes almost 200 watts. We've got 100 coming in on solar, so it's draining the EcoFlow at a fair rate. It takes about 2 hours to fully drain it when it's on when the slow cooker's on full power, and the solar panels bringing in a good amount. Drains it even quicker. Drains it within about an hour if there's no solar. So on and off, you know, heat the potatoes, turn it off, battery recharges, cook the potatoes some more. Cooking on full, not on low. I think. I'm talking about 3 weeks ago, so it's all a little bit. But at the end, as the sun goes down, the potatoes are still rock hard, even after 2 days of cooking continuously. Oh, so I've made a note here that the next day I'm only going to use full heat. I think I'd been alternating between full heat and the high and the low setting. I must have been alternating on this day, because I made a note here that the next day, the third day of trying to cook these bloody potatoes, full blast only. Still didn't work. Spoiler alert. Okay, so that was that day. That was that day, just cooking these bloody potatoes and watching videos. Tuesday morning, I wake up early, 5 o'clock. Not happy. Don't want to be waking up at 5 o'clock. A few minutes after I wake up, I realise that there's a drip inside the tent. So maybe it was there, maybe that's what woke me up, but I wasn't cognizant of it immediately. But it's not raining. But I've got this drip. Condensation and dew. Dew on the outside, finding holes through the tarpaulin and dripping through. And then dripping through the bedroom, and also condensation on the inside just from our normal breathing and what have you. When the atmosphere is at that point, when the temperature drops below the dew point, we're at that time of year. When it's nice like this, a warm day, the atmosphere absorbs a lot of moisture. And let's say you get up to like 100% or 90%, it's holding as much moisture as it can. And then the temperature only needs to drop 2 or 3 degrees. And suddenly the air can't hold that moisture anymore. And you get the dew. Even on a nice, it can still be a fairly warm night, but it's just not warm enough to hold the amount of moisture that was absorbed through the day. And that's your dew point. That's when you start getting everything covered in water on the outside and condensation on the inside. So there we were, with it literally dripping in on us while it's not raining. Very, very wet outside. I walked out in bare feet, which was a mistake. Came back in with kind of sludge on the bottom of my feet. Walked Tina, waited until 9 o'clock to walk Tina. Put out the solar and got my coffee, and immediately get the EcoFlow up to 90%, and put the potatoes on as I'd promised myself the day before, full blast. Forecast says it's going to be sunny all day, so there shouldn't be any problem. Enough power. We should have enough power to cook some potatoes, especially on the third day, especially after adding extra insulation to make sure that that we're not losing heat out of the slow cooker. Should be fine. Isn't. Must be something about these particular potatoes, because I've cooked jacket potatoes, baked potatoes. I've cooked them before in the slow cooker, and I had a full pot. I don't know, maybe just a different, what's the word? Species, brand. I haven't got the right word. A different breed of potato. That's not the right word. Breeds of potato. Variety, that's probably the best word, isn't it? A different variety of potato. Okay. Oh, this was the one. Okay, so I start thinking that I'll do a TrampCast in the afternoon. You know, I'm 2 weeks behind. I need to get caught up. Still haven't managed it, folks. Sorry. This week was all tent and moving and taking things out and deconstructing, reconstructing, bringing back in. So didn't get caught up this week. I want to get this done this next week, because it's difficult for me to do this 3 weeks in arrears. Got to get caught up. But anyway, I'm starting to think it's a nice day, lots of sun. The potatoes should be cooking, and I've got time on my hands. Let me write out a page of notes, and we'll do a TrampCast. And then this fog rolls in at midday, and I do a video on it, and I get a bit puzzled, and I look up on the internet about midday fog, because it's quite a rare event in most parts of the world. But it has names. And I drop them as puns in the title of the video. I do like my puns. I like being clever with words when I can. Never use a silly little short word when you can use a nice big word instead. The original meaning of bombastic. Using big words instead of little words, just to show off. But then that whole showing off became bombastic. That whole, yeah. Words change meanings over time. But yeah, I did a video about the fog and released it. But it was a distraction for the afternoon. Then of course I've released a video, and then I'm watching graphs instead of writing my notes. So the TrampCast never happened, folks. Sorry. We will get there eventually. We will get back on top of this crap. The idea, for anyone who's kind of new around here, the idea is that I discuss the week that we've just had. So I should be talking about this week, the week ending April the 27th. But I'm not. I'm currently talking about the week ending Sunday, April the 13th. Because I'm behind. That was caused by the week of hell. Which was 3 weeks of bad weather. Terrible bad weather, a flooded tent, wet beds. Not like that. I know you lot, you make your own jokes up. Anyway, yeah. So the whole day, the potatoes are on and off, only on high power though, only on full power this time. And this was the one again where the EcoFlow's got this 30% limit. When it gets down to 30%, it's supposed to turn off all of the outputs except USB. So if the 12 volt, the cigarette lighter's on, that's supposed to turn off, and the 220 volt alternating current, the normal plug socket, supposed to turn off when we get down to 30. Didn't. Kept going. But I spotted it. An hour or two before it's going dark, this is when my friend Adela turned up with a tortilla and salad. So tortilla is the Spanish word for what we in England would call a Spanish omelette. I'm sure you all know. A lot of you have been to Torrevieja. The ones that haven't been to Torrevieja have been to Spain. But if you take a frying pan, fill it with a few veggies, usually potato and onions is the main thing, and then whisk your eggs up and pour it in. Do a full frying pan full, and that's basically the shape of your tortilla. You turn it over halfway through, and it solidifies. It's supposed to stay a little bit wobbly in the middle, a little bit moist in the middle, and that's the tortilla. Well, Adela had cooked one and brought it to me, and a big salad as well. Like I said, Adela is a friend of mine from the before times, before I was homeless. Acquaintance, more than an acquaintance. I don't know whether I could say we were friends, but we were Facebook friends at least, and we'd say hello when we saw each other. We used to drink in the same bar, a bar called Medusa, about a 20-minute walk that way. I used to like, on an evening, 20-minute walk to the bar, 20-minute walk back afterwards. Clear your head and just relax, bit of fresh air. Yeah. So that was basically the end of that night, folks. The rest is just watching videos, walking the dog, all of that. I've done a video of mine. I haven't cooked it. Don't think I've cooked one. I know I haven't done a cookery video in ages, and I don't know that I've got the skill to pull off the timing and everything. Having eggs is a rarity as well. I do have a bunch of eggs at the minute from my friend Josie there. It's an idea, isn't it? I've got potatoes, I've got onions. In fact, I've got onions that need using. They're sprouting like crazy. I've got onions, I've got potato, I've got egg. And what do you need? Salt and pepper. Maybe there's a cooking with a hobo video in the works. I still can't remember. Do I call it cooking with a hobo or cooking with a tramp? There was a time where I thought YouTube were punishing me for using the word tramp because of its connotations of has been a name to call ladies. I don't know. I think if I use the word hobo enough, it adds context and helps the algorithm not treat me too badly. Anyway, so Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, and I knackered my shoulder. Scooting in and out of bed, having to press down, possibly because of the bed being wet, the bottom mattresses and things, and as I squeeze and a puddle of water appears by my feet, I'm having to be more careful about placing my feet and how I get in and out of bed. And also, guys, I'm on two mattresses. That's all, or it was, not now. But so I'm not off the ground high. I'm getting up. When I'm getting up and down in the night, gentlemen of a certain age, you know what I mean. When I'm getting up in the night, it's a long way to get up. You got to push a long way up. You're not just sitting on the edge of a bed and standing up. You're having to get up from almost ground level. It's a lot of work sometimes. Some nights more than others as well. Yeah, you know. So yeah, where are we? So yeah, Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, and I've knackered my shoulder just shuffling in and out of bed. Sometimes as well, the dog wants to walk at stupid o'clock, and that complicates matters. 8 a.m. walk Tina and put the solar panels out, and we're getting literally no input, nothing, zero, until 9:30, and it seemed like a fairly bright morning. Not sunny, but it seemed bright. You're stronger than a car, Jack. No, not really. I guess in the long run, folks, I mean, what am I? I'm 56. I guess most people who are headed for 60 aren't getting up and down off the ground quite as much as I feel like I am. Made a big difference today. So the last few nights after the tent went up, I'm talking about this week now, not the week in question, the actual current week. I took the mattresses out the other day when we obviously went to the tent, and didn't realise how wet the bottom mattress was. It was absolutely soaking again. So I left it out for about 3 days to dry. And obviously each night it picks up a bit of dew or whatever and gets damp again. But I spent a few nights just sleeping on a single mattress on the floor. So I'm low, even lower than normal. And yesterday, my friends brought me these bed frames. The bed, just the rectangle with some lats that the mattress sits on. No legs or anything. But there's a single bed, and then there's like a half bed, like a kid's bed or maybe a cot or something. So I got one and a half of these, one under me, and the half's in the middle under Tina, to her side, halfway down the bed. But we're on this framework and 2 mattresses now. We put the second mattress back in, and I noticed immediately the difference trying to get out of bed. The fact that it's 2 mattresses and not one, and then we've got this extra couple of inches from the bed frame. Big difference from getting up from one mattress on the floor. Yeah. Anyway, back to the story. We're on Wednesday of the week ending April the 13th. So yeah, with no solar input until 9:30. But that's all right. We were just below 75% on the EcoFlow overnight, so it wasn't a big struggle. But those potatoes just never cooked, and I don't know why. I gave up. I didn't go another day trying again. I've made a note to myself, in future, fewer potatoes. I'll just carry on making chips. I'll carry on frying them in the frying pan. For mash, I've got powder, so I don't need... Have you seen? I did a video recently of mashed potato with some spices and flavourings, just as a quick, what some would call a comfort meal. It's just a quick 2-minute ready-made meal kind of thing. Powdered mashed potato and a bunch of spicy... I think I had... What's the name of the chain of restaurants in America that's named after a Mexican pepper? I almost had it there and I lost it. Chipotle. I got there. The Alzheimer's is not too bad yet. I had some Chipotle flavouring and some other seasonings, and put that in the mashed potato just as some storm was approaching. So that was nice. That's a good comfort meal, or struggle meal, as some would say. A quick and easy filling meal that just gets you through an evening with no real effort. But this was when my mate, this was when, so Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday dinner time or so, is when my friend Tom called around, and this time he wasn't bringing me a meal and stuff. He was bringing a dining table, the big pine dinner table, dining table that I've got now, which I don't think I've shown you as yet. I could have done that while we were out looking at the tent before, but I didn't. We'll do that another day, folks, if I haven't shown it already. But yeah, King of the Tramps, big pine dining table, sat outside in a field. Because why not? So this was a warm day, not as warm, not as hot as some of the days preceding it, but a good and warm day. And here we go again. Look, late afternoon, and I realise that I've messed up right royally with the EcoFlow. Not as bad as it might have been, but as the sun goes down, I'm on 86%, and the weather forecast says that the next 2 or 3 days might not have any sun. So you'd rather go into a period like that. If you've got to go 2 or 3 days with no sun and everything, all of your comfort things in life. Look, I went months with nothing. If I had to go a few days without electric on the phone and whatever, survival's not the issue. But it's nice, it's better to have than not have. If I can just sit here and watch some YouTube videos or download season 3 of Reacher, or maybe trying to carry on watching Elementary or Person of Interest, which I've got bogged down with both of those. I haven't finished them. I'm only on episode 10 of season 1 of Person of Interest. I don't know what happened there. I got lost. I got separated from it. Still got them. They're downloaded. They're on the phone waiting to be watched. Going back to my original point. I'd rather have the power, the electricity, and have the option of watching films and downloading videos and making videos and uploading them, especially if there's bad weather coming in or we're going to go a few days with no real sunshine. So anyway, yeah, to realise that I haven't topped it up. I'm not on 100% going into the night when we might have days with no sun. So that was a little bit of a worry. Turns out it wasn't the big deal I thought it was going to be. But yeah, the worry was that I could be down to kind of 50 or 60% overnight and with minimal sun for a few days. Also, high winds are forecast 35 kilometers an hour. In a tent as broken as the tent was. It's not really where you want to be, folks. It's not really where you want to be. So that was my worry Wednesday night and into Thursday morning. But it wasn't as bad as I thought. The EcoFlow's on 69% first thing in the morning. Cloudy start to the day. Early morning dog walk and grab all my coffees, all the coffees. And I have two separate visits before 10 a.m. 9 a.m. Thursday morning, Colleen comes, the lady who brings me the local free newspaper, English language newspaper. And sometimes she'll bring bones for Tina and stuff, but not on that occasion. I don't think, unless I just didn't write the notes. If that's the case, Colleen, sorry. But 9:30, this one was a little bit of a... This one was a surprise. Bloke called Christian. We used to share an apartment for 3 years. Me, him and our two dogs. This is the guy that when I was made homeless, I was hoping... Well, I asked if he would look after my stuff because I was going to be made homeless, and he said yes. And I was hoping he would offer me either the spare room or sleep on his balcony or, you know, something. And he never did. And the day before I was due to drop my things off with him, before I was made homeless, he turned around and sent me a nasty message saying, "It's all your own fault, fuck off. Don't want anything to do with it, goodbye and good luck." And a while ago, he turned up here, seemingly wanting my assistance in life. Me, the tramp, homeless for 2.5 years and plus. And he wanted my help. And he's left me alone for quite the while now. And I just a few weeks ago, I thought to myself, I thought about two people that used to come here and that haven't been for a while. And then he turned up this 2 or 3 weeks ago, whenever this was. No real purpose to the visit. He was passing. He was walking off to go and see whether he could buy a cheap second-hand bicycle, because he always breaks his. And so he just stopped off here on the way past, which, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that shit. I don't know whether I call him friend or not anymore after what happened. He wants to just ignore that it ever happened and just carry on as if we're friends, and he gave me the big goodbye and good luck the day before I was meant to be made homeless. Well, the day before I was made homeless. I don't know. Onwards. So that was my second visitor before 10 o'clock. Anyway, off he goes to go and buy his bike or whatever. I've no idea. He hasn't been in touch since. Anyway, I noticed the EcoFlow's getting some power. Slowly at first. Up to 80% by 10 o'clock. Starting at 69. So it's getting some. Now, to give some context, charging my phone from empty to full will take 7 or 8% from the EcoFlow. So if I know I'm going to be charging my phone 2 or 3 times in a 24-hour period, I'm going to need 25 or so percentage on the EcoFlow. So if I can be getting that in, then it's going to drop back down and we're going to hold steady over a day. But there's always the hope that, you know, you get an hour of sunshine at some point in the day. Even though the weather forecast says not, you hang on to that hope. And the fact that we're getting any power is good in my eyes. But yeah, we're gaining power slowly but surely. Now in the afternoon I sit outside with Tina and I cook some chips with these potatoes that have 3 days of trying to cook them in the slow cooker. I put them in the frying pan with a deep bit of oil. And I sliced them reasonably thin. Not crisp thin, you know, but reasonably thin slices. And I cooked them for over half an hour. And they turn a nice golden brown on the outside. And I plate up one ration, one portion, and I put the next batch in. And to my horror, I find that these potatoes are hardly edible. They're still reasonably solid. They're soft enough that you can just about chew them and get them down. But tell them to take a flying, says Jack Attack. Yeah, you know. The fact that he's a kind of former friend, you know. But yeah. When I was living with him, he was only getting about €250 a month assistance, benefits. Shortly before I left, shortly before I moved out, he started getting 800 and odd euros a month. And that's pretty much when he said, my girlfriend's coming over. And I thought he meant for a visit, so just said, oh, good for you. And then discovered a week before she was due to arrive, I discovered he meant she was coming over and moving in, and it's meant to be a permanent thing, and fuck off, go get your own place. Oh, okay. Yeah. That was tough. Trying to rent an apartment from start to finish within a week when you've got a pet. Yeah. You try that. You try that one. So anyway, I'm eating these chips and they're barely edible. They're still full of all the starch and they're hard. So they've been cooking 3 days in the slow cooker, or trying to bake for 3 days in the slow cooker, and they've had over half an hour sat covered in oil. So it's not exactly deep frying, we're kind of shallow frying, but in a goodly amount of oil for over half an hour, and they're still barely edible. So the second batch I did for 45 minutes. No different. So I'd had my fill. I couldn't eat anymore. But these things are sitting real heavy in my stomach. I'm worried I'm going to be like laying here with a stomachache all night from all the heavy starchiness. Wasn't a pleasant feeling at all, folks. Not pleasant at all. So this is what makes me think that it's this batch of potatoes rather than what I was doing with the slow cooker. Or normally I would slice potatoes the thickness I did them the same as normal. I know I need to do them fairly thin because I'm doing them in a frying pan and I don't have a lid or anything either, and I'm shallow frying, not deep frying. But normally 20-25 minutes would be fine. I did these for half an hour after they've already been in the slow cooker for 3 days trying to bake. And the second batch I did for 45 minutes and still not enough. So I don't know. sitting heavy in the stomach anyway. Yeah. So after this, I take Tina for a walk, just 100 meters along the track towards the sea, but we don't get there. Sometimes we can, but not often. And I turn around and bring her back after she's done what she needs to do. And when I look through the field, there's a bloke in amongst the trees with a bicycle. And I'm wondering, like, I understand if some bloke wants to nip into the bushes and have a riddle, you know, take a call of nature. Yeah, but why take your bike with you? Or if he's a camper, if he's someone looking for like a campsite, wants to pitch a tent for the night or something while he's riding past, maybe it was that. But he took one look at me, turned around, and scarpered, went direct. No stopping and looking under any more bushes or he just went. And I'm wondering if he was up to no good. I'm wondering that if I'd not come back when I did, would I have got here and found something missing? Which still, after 2.5 years in this field and 2 3/4 years, almost, I think, of being homeless, I've never had anything stolen. Thomas thinks he's a thief. Could well be. There was someone just said wrong kind of potatoes. Let me just react to that. It's possible they're the wrong kind of potatoes, but they're, you know, you go in Mercadona and they've just got a mesh bag, a net full of 5 kilograms of potatoes. They're just that. They're just whatever Mercadona's selling at the time as their bog standard potato. So I don't know. It does sound to me like they're the wrong potatoes. But yeah, going back to the guy in the field, yeah, I'm suspicious that it was a thief. Moonhawk says use them as cannonballs. Let me have a quick catch up. I'll go back. Yeah, friends should help you. Yeah, friends should help you when they can. Yeah, the guy who I think I've mentioned before. I think what happened was he offered to start. He has a roof balcony. He has he's on the top floor, so he's got storage space and whatever on the roof, and he's got 2 big storage kind of sheds there. I think what happened was he said yes to me for storing my things, but I think in the meantime he said yes to another friend staying in the apartment, and I think he didn't want me to know that the other bloke was in the apartment, and so he sent me this nasty message telling me no, go away. And then he flourished it with it's all your own fault, you're the master of your own disaster, go away, goodbye and good luck. I think that's what happened, but it's still, I wasn't used to living in a field. You know, when I was kicked out of a friend's house at the end of the friendship, I outlasted my welcome, and fair enough, and she said, look, you got another 2 weeks. If you can't get things sorted with your bank or with whatever, you got to go. So I walked out of that apartment that day, down the stairs to the road, and I didn't know what to do, where to go, how to live. I still don't really. I lived for 2 months in the park, got moved on, landed in this field, and just stayed here come what may, because I had nowhere else to go. 2 floods in the first month, then workmen turning up with bulldozers and excavators and scaring the shit out of me one day. Turns out they were just digging a drainage. You are live. I was disconnected. I don't know how long I was disconnected for. I'll just backtrack a little bit. 2 months in the park, then I came to this field and I just stuck no matter what, come what may. I kind of had it in mind, stay in this field, because I don't know what else to do, where else to go. I don't know how to live rough. I don't know how to live on the streets or as a tramp. I struggled by for 3, 4, 5 months, and then the 2 ladies bought me a phone, and I started the YouTube channel and basically started documenting my life as a way of reaching out for help. It was as mercenary as that, you might say. I was deliberately saying, look, this is me, this is how I'm living. Somebody said, get yourself a PayPal account, which I managed to do, even under a not real name, which is probably against the terms of service. But here I am, and I've built from there with the help of people like you, people who watch and occasionally help. The people who come, like Josie and her husband, who come to the field and bring me, surprise me with an 18-kilogram bag of dog food, 3 bottles of beer, 3 bottles of fizzy orange, a bottle of pop, bottle of cola, and the things I listed before: cheese, boiled ham, serrano ham, bacon bits, margarine, and butter, mantequilla. People like that. People like Karen, who I met through the live stream, through TrampCast 001. Anyone new here wants to know the backstory? Why is there a tramp on YouTube? What's this all about? Why is he a tramp? Why doesn't he just go home to England? What kind of idiot is he? Surely he should just go home. All of that is answered in TrampCast 001. It was also all answered in a video a little while back that ended up, it was supposed to be a shorter video. It's supposed to be a condensed version of TrampCast 001, but it ended up longer. Anyway, folks, I must get back to the story. Where are we? I think we were on Thursday. I'd made chips and they were sitting heavy in my stomach. The man in the field was up to no good. I think that's where we got to. Okay, now this is where, because I've been tidying out certain parts of the tent and what have you, I came across a few bags of coins. Some that maybe had been given to me, somewhere I'd stored lots of my own change over time. Just bits of shrapnel, 10s and 20-cent pieces, 5s and 2s and 1s. And I needed them, because I'd just sent all my money to Karen to buy a tent, hadn't I? All your money that was stacked up in PayPal ready to buy a tent was all gone. I was down to nothing. No money on my tap and go card. And I needed some bits and pieces from the Chino Bazaar. So I coppered up, I started counting the money up, and there was, in total, I got to €7 from 3 bags and other bits that had been lying around, some on my bedside cabinet and quite a few on the floor. And when I'd brought these mattresses out to dry and clean the floor a bit, and I dug up some 2s, 5s, 10-cent coins. So I coppered up because I needed it. I had nothing left. I'd gone, tents cost money. I don't know if you know this. Here's another worry, folks. Now that I'm in a brand new tent, people walking past, if they see it's a new tent, no one's going to be offering to help, are they? They're going to think camping, not homeless. They're going to think camping, or if they see the bloody solar panel, they're going to think I'm glamping, as they call it, where you're out and you're not even camping, you've got all the luxuries. I haven't. I mean, I have got a few bits of, TV, as we've said, and the cool box. Tina, it's okay. It's just people walking past. But, yeah, now that I've got a new tent, people are not going to be as keen to help. When they walked past and could see into the tent because there were big holes in the walls. So that's something I'm going to have to contend with. But anyway, backtracking. A couple of weeks ago, the week we're talking about, I'm adding up these 10s and 20s so that I can go up to the Chino Bazaar and buy whatever it was that I needed. I think we were low on poo bags, so normally I buy this huge bag of bolsas hygienico, as they would call them, hygienic bags, poo bags for the dog. But I bought a little. I only had enough money to scrape. I could only scrape enough together to buy a little bag of that and whatever the other bits and pieces were. So yeah, coppering up because I didn't have any other money. What have I got here? Oh, this is when I started to feel a little bit sick. Yeah. And I thought it might have been the potatoes. You know, I said about the chips being sitting on the stomach really badly, and I got this really feeling. But I managed to hold off. I managed to suppress it, keep it down, keep it in. I'm not throwing food away, especially not food I've already eaten. Anyway, the wind starts to pick up a little bit. But the weather forecast had said the day before, the weather forecast had said 35 kilometers an hour. I could hear wind, but it wasn't hitting us. So I'm assuming it was coming from behind those trees over there, and that we were sheltered from it, protected from it. And yeah, so we just put up with it. We just carried on. The where are we? I've lost my spot. I've lost my spot in the notes. Yeah, the wind noticeable, but not too bad. And the forecast updates and says that, yeah, Friday's going to be windy again. So even on Thursday, they're kind of saying, yeah, it was going to be windy Thursday, but let's make it Friday. Whatever. So that's the night where Tina came out of the bedroom and got her food, and I left her on her own. I stayed in the bedroom. And after a while, I shouted her back through, and she came to get back into bed. Front claws, because her back paws aren't working. She has to pull a lot with her front claw. She gets so far on, and then I'll hold her collar and give her a bit of a pull until I can get hold of the belt that I've got tied around her waist. Then I can hoik her, you know, up properly, give her a proper lift. But she gets it a bit wrong, poor thing. Front paws right into my leg. Right into my leg. I shouted at her. I try not to be nasty with her, folks, but some things like that, you know her two nicknames, Death and Destruction, or Damage and Destruction. This is why we're going to keep a note of how many days before Tina breaks something in the tent. One of the doors, or last time around it was the mesh, the mosquito mesh. Someone came to the tent and stood in the doorway while the mesh was closed, and Tina tried to go out and at him. That's my girl. Tina, quiet. Anyway, so yeah, she dug her claws right into me. I had to try and get her off me, but at the same time get her up and on the bed properly so that she's not trying to pull herself up. She's digging in and trying to pull herself onto the bed, but the thing she's digging into is me. Yeah, babe. Daddy was angry. Daddy was very angry. Where are we? Yeah. That was more or less, that was the end of events for that night. Obviously dog walks and usual nighttime stuff. But I'm awake all night. Thursday night into Friday morning, I'm awake until 5 a.m. No real reason, I just am. It's not like some nights you get like a bloody disco going on someone's balcony. Some of these apartments over yonder are rentals, and you know, you get a gang of lads or a gang of lasses there, and they'll think nothing about bringing the stereo out from in the apartment and putting it on full blast at 3 or 4 in the morning on the balcony. And they're on holiday, you know what I mean? But you know. Also at the weekends you'll get there's a bit of the cliff tops are a bit of a lover's lane kind of scenario. People pull up for an hour or two and lots of moaning and groaning goes on. Also this track, but sometimes they'll cover the moans and groans with the stereo, won't they? I guess we were all young once. But sometimes sometimes the music, the noise is the reason to keep you awake. This time there was no real reason. I was just awake. What can you do? So no sleep until 5, and at 8 awake and dog walk and coffee. Didn't even bother putting the solar out that morning to begin with. There was just no point. Looking at the sky, and I said we would do 2 or 3 days with little to no sun. Yeah, yeah. We we were low on the eco flow, and how low? Probably about 50% or so, and this was where at 10 o'clock again I started to feel sick again. 10 a.m. So I'd not put the solar out because it was too dull. That was at did I say 8 when I walked the dog? Yeah, 8 o'clock. I knew there was going to be no sun for a while anyway, so I didn't put the solar out. 10 o'clock I started to feel a bit nauseous, so and it really, not just a bit, I'm going to be sick, I feel like. And I come out, and I was a little bit, but it wasn't like food, it was just phlegm, just nastiness. Sorry, details you don't need. But while I'm out, I look around, and it's not sunny, but it's a bit brighter. So I think, oh, maybe there's some hope. Maybe I can put the solar panel out. Maybe we won't get enough yet, but maybe it'll brighten up a little bit more in a while. So I put the solar panel out, and it's getting 10 watts, which isn't enough to charge the EcoFlow. But if you put something on to charge, like the batteries or the phone, it will do pass-through. Those 10 watts will be available to charge devices on a low charge, a slow charge. But you got to hit 15 or 16 for the EcoFlow to actually put the power into its own battery. It just needs to reach a certain amount before it can do it. Tina, quiet. Huh? Hey. For anyone who's just arriving, let's introduce my lady here. Here's Tina. Say hello to the peoples. Come on. Okay. Hey, it's just some people walking past. Tina. It's just people on the track. Quiet. Leave them alone. Leave the nice people alone. Oh! New tent for anyone just arriving. New tent. Here's all my food supplies and stores. I've only just bringing everything back in. It's going to take a while to get fully sorted, but there's the bedroom. Coat hanger at the end with fairy lights, LED fairy lights hanging off. Those are that's the only place to hang anything in the bedroom. If I was going to come up with some niggles about this, about the new tent, only one hanging point in the bedroom, and it's at the opposite end to hanging points in the tent before. So my preference would be to have the lights down kind of at the foot end of the bed, but this is directly overhead. But that's the only real hang. My bed is now a little bit off the ground. 2 mattresses on top of a little kind of 2-inch bed frame. Yeah, nice new carpet in here. The old carpet is underneath the tent for extra insulation and extra comfort and to stop the flow going through. Here's my storage area. A little bit over full already. Still needs a bit of reorganizing. 3 days after moving in. But there we are, folks, and me here in my wingback chair, big comfy old person chair. Down there's my television and the bubble wrap. There we go. Oh, and down there is my EcoFlow, my power station, solar panel, cool box, EcoFlow. That's you up to date. Any newcomers? If you're wondering who, why, what, when, where, why is this guy in a field? What's this all about? Why has he spent 2.5 years in a field? TrampCast 001. I tried searching for it the other day. It didn't come up as easily as I thought it should, given how well it's named and how much I've searched for it and linked to it everywhere. Anyway, onwards, folks, ever onwards. Where are we? We're Friday morning. It's 10 o'clock. I've just been sick outside, and we're getting some power into the EcoFlow. 10 watts to begin with, which I use to charge the phone and things because, like I said, it's not enough to charge the EcoFlow itself. but don't let the watts go to waste. When the power gets above 15 or 16%, unplug the phone, let the power go into the battery in the EcoFlow, and just keep monitoring like that. About 10:30, we hit 25 watts coming in, which is enough to start adding a decent amount. That's a noticeable amount of power to start adding. We get the EcoFlow up to 69%. Yeah, any charge is better than no charge, is what I've written here in my notes. But yeah, I mean, when the sun comes out properly, like a day like today, it will quickly start hitting 90, 95, 98 watts. It's a 100-watt panel, allegedly. I've seen it do 110, 112, possibly 115, but I'm not quite sure on that. But I've got that idea somewhere in there. So it will go over its actual rating. The EcoFlow can take more than that, so it's all good. Power for my devices. Yeah, any charge is better than no charge. And better still, we're still not being hit by these strong winds that they keep predicting. So that's good. Apparently, this is written later. I think this note's from about 12 o'clock, but it says at 12 o'clock we were at peak wind. That's when it's supposed to hit 35 kilometers an hour. Bearing in mind the 35 kilometers an hour was originally meant to be for the day before. But you know. Weather forecasts, folks. Weather forecasts. We all know how they are. Folks, if you would, thumbs up, please. And consider a subscribe. If you've seen more than 2 or 3 videos of mine, and you think that you might want to see more, God love you. I got no idea why you would do that, but consider the like button and subscribe. And cheers to the subscribers. If you're feeling left out because I'm not cheersing you because you're not a subscriber, hit the bloody button. And I'll give it another few seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thunderbirds are go. It's one for the Brits of a certain age. Cheers, folks. Cheers to the subscribers. That one's coming to an end. Okay, where are we? Friday. We're at peak wind, allegedly, but the tent is absolutely still. Got to be the trees protecting us. Got to be. And according to the weather forecast, it's going to be midnight before it drops below 20 kilometers an hour. Anyway, I got my pan, and I made myself a cup of soup or instant soup, a packet mix, yeah? And I did my usual thing. I turned what should be like a cup of soup into a full pan of soup by adding extra water and a cup of rice. And away we go. Bring it in, get ready, start eating. My friend Tom rings. At what time would you like to eat today, he says. I'm like, oh, you bugger. I've just made food. So I ruined that, didn't I? My mate Tom would have brought me something probably chicken based. He goes to the markets. There's a couple to choose from on Thursdays and Fridays. But he normally goes and gets chicken and prepares a meal with it for me. But I ruined it by making food at the wrong time. Anyway, there we go. Now, I have a little sit outside in the afternoon with Tina, and this is where a lady called San, and I'm not sure, I think she was English, and I think that might be short for Sandra, but I'm not sure. She called herself San anyway, and she'd walked past with her dog the day before, or she'd driven past and then walked her dog and driven out. This day, she stopped at the top of the road and was looking at me a little bit while I was stood outside, and I was thinking, what have I done? What have I done now? But then I think she'd walked her dog. She got in her car and drove down, and then the car stopped outside the tent this side. So I'm stood outside over here. She stops here, and I'm, uh-oh, what have I done? What's going on? But no, she'd seen the state of the tent. She'd seen that I'd got a tarpaulin ripped to buggery, and that behind the ripped tarpaulin there was a missing wall, and that you were looking at the from the outside, you were looking at the inner bedroom, the inner lining. So she'd brought me this tarp. And this was the one where I said earlier that the picture on the box was of one of these swimming pools, these backyard swimming pool things with a big inflatable rubber ring around the top. So when she handed me the box, I was like, I hope you're not bringing me a swimming pool to... Now that would be King of the Tramps, folks. That would be King of the Tramps. One of those kind of 3-meter diameter paddling pool stroke swimming pool things. If I had one of those outside of the tent, King of the Tramps. Don't give Karen ideas. Karen? No. No. Hi, Karen. Hi, family. Christine. Hello. Someone take a timestamp. 2 hours 15 and change. I shall tell them when to look. Where am I? So yeah, this is where San brought the extra tarp. Fantastic, folks. Fantastic. Haven't used it yet because I knew we were only a few days away from putting this up. Ended up being a little bit longer than we thought. We tried to avoid offending people over Christmas. We didn't want the risk. Spain's a more religious country than the UK. We didn't want to be doing things on like Good Friday or Easter Sunday or whatever. So we needed 2 or 3 days of good weather consecutively so that I had time to move everything out, take the tent down, put the tent up, and then start bringing things in and throwing things away that weren't needed anymore. And cleaning some things and drying off some clothes that had got wet in the storms. When the bed got wet, so did a whole pile of clothes and a whole pile of bedding. All of that. So piece by piece, bit by bit, it's coming in. We're nearly there now. But this was 2 weeks ago, just over. So anyway, yeah. We put the old tarps back on to try and disguise it and make it look no different to anybody just passing. But we will use all of these things in due course. So thank you, San. I don't know whether you even know that this podcast, TrampCast, whatever we want to call it, I don't even know if you know this exists. I'm thinking of putting some signage outside, folks. What do you think? Maybe I get a marker pen and on this tarp here behind me, maybe I write youtube.com/ and then the address, what is it? Delta Mike Torrevieja is the address for the channel. Maybe I write in marker pen, homeless, not camping. Sin hogar or sin teco, no acampar. I can do it in both languages. I'm multilingual, folks. Yeah. Okay, where are we? San and the tarp. So thank you, San. And thank you, Tom, for offering the food. More from Tom shortly. Where am I? Made soup and rice down. Okay. This is where I laid down to watch Down and Out in Beverly Hills. Now, this channel, Down and Out in Torrevieja. You see the parallels. Down and Out in Beverly Hills. And also the book, Down and Out in London and Paris. Might have the order of them wrong. George Orwell. Yeah, so there are literary and filmographic parallels with the name of the channel. But I sat down to watch it because it's been a long time since I watched it. Put it on, set it going. I wake up as it ends. I've missed like 90% of it. So rewind to a part I recognise. Start watching it. Rinse and repeat 4 times, folks. I get 5 or 10 minutes in, fall asleep, take it back to a part that I recognise, fall asleep. That was me most of the afternoon. Then Tom, this is where Tom does call around. No food because I told him I'd already eaten. But we sat and chatted and had a beer as we usually do on either a Thursday or a Friday. Occasionally a Saturday instead. But yeah, we sat and had a chat and a beer. And I noted, get this, folks, First beer of the week. Friday evening. Sat out with my mate Tom. For those of you that have that idea about me, you know, he's a tramp, he must be a wino, he must be an alky. I will remind you, I'm sitting and talking for 2.5 hours, 3 hours. And then at night, I might sit down with you and talk with you for 3, 4, 5 hours. I'm going to start doing that a bit more often if anybody's interested. If there's the demand, if anybody wants it. Anyway, Tom leaves. You know, we had an hour and a half, as it usually is. I sat chatting. Tom leaves. I get settled on the bed with my doggy, and I'm about to kind of start closing the tent up. Pepe, Spanish guy from over the field that's been stealing my bricks and whatever, has been coming here and wanting to cook his food with my gas. Even when I was on vapors, remember? When my gas bottle was down to, you pick it up and there was no weight to it, and you shake it, you can't hear any, it was literally just vapors. There was no liquid inside there anymore, and he was coming 2 or 3 nights a week wanting to cook his food on my stove. Well, here he comes again. Just as I was getting settled for the night. And what he wants is to charge his phone from my EcoFlow. And I don't begrudge a bloke a bit of electric, you know. But his phone is the slowest goddamn charging thing ever. And while it's charging, he wants to sit and chat and sometimes cook his food. This is when he came and he brought a baguette and what's it called? The spreadable cheese. Philadelphia, if you remember the advert. Sarah Crowe, wasn't it? Way back, if you remember. She became famous just for that advert and started to kind of parlay it into being a comedy actress and then disappeared. I don't know what happened. Tell me, somebody find out what happened to Sarah Crowe with an E on the end, I think, of Crowe. She's in 1 or 2 of the latter Carry On films, I think. They did one, I think, in the 90s with Julian Clary and people like that. Not people like that, just people from that era. You're going to get me in trouble again. You're going to get me in trouble. I didn't mean people like that. I just meant people like that, people from that era. Because the Carry On films were mainly 60s, 70s, weren't they? So to suddenly do one in the 80s or 90s, I just meant people like that. Not just... Am I in enough trouble yet? Have I been cancelled? Anyway, yeah. Pepe's here, and he wants to sit at my nice big new table that I've literally just got that day. Was it that day? Day before? What day did the table arrive? I have to look back through my notes now. I'm lost. Why, was it Wednesday? It was Wednesday. Okay. So Wednesday the table arrived, and on Friday the bugger's wanting to sit at my table and use my knife. I'm convinced he doesn't own anything for food preparation. Been living in that field a year. He was homeless before that. He's not new. This was a deliberate choice of his to move there. He'd been there before. Got money in his pocket, but hasn't got a camping gas stove or any kind of gas stove. Nothing for food preparation, cooking, food storage. Knives, forks, plates, pans. Nothing. But wants to come here and use mine all the time. Anyway, we got talking. He sat there. He did go up to the shop and he came back with 2 cans of beer and he offered me one. So suddenly I'm on my 2nd can of beer in the week. That's all right. But it was a bloody cold night. It was dark, it was cold, and he wanted to sit there for 2 or 3 hours while his phone charged. Well, after 2 hours, I said, kind of enough. I got to go in, mate. And I said, do you want your phone now? It was just before, it was in that twilighty time. I said, do you want your phone now, or do you want to come back in an hour for your phone? You know what he said? How will I know when it's an hour if you've got my phone? I'm like, be a fucking grown-up. Like, guess. It was twilight, so wait until quarter of an hour after proper dark. I don't know, guess. Anyway, I said to him, it'll be dark. Come back when it's dark. It's like having to educate a 5-year-old or something. He came back like an hour and a half after it got dark. So, 2 hours after he left. What do you do? Anyway, yeah, his phone got a good bit of charge, 60 or 70% from next to nothing. Enough to get him through the night, and then he can do what he normally does. Take it wherever he goes normally when I'm not his power company. Yeah. How will I know when it's How will I know when it's an hour, folks? Like, guesstimate, you know what I mean? Or be a grown-up and buy a fucking watch. I didn't, I was given it. But you know, have more than one timepiece. Don't be reliant on a single point of failure. I've got a clock over there. I've got a watch here and I've got my phone. I've got a tablet that's got the time as well. Try over time, especially if you've got money in your pocket. You probably buy a watch now for less than a tenner, can't you? Don't buy it off the lucky men. The local authority will fine you €200. Not them, not the lucky men. They will fine you €200. They find it too difficult to deal with those guys. Those guys will fight the police. Those guys will organise. Those guys have a bit of a mafia thing behind them, gangs and groups. They will pick on the police and pick them off and give them trouble. So they give the normal man in the street trouble, not the lucky man. Same reason that they come and harass tramps living in fields, whereas the brothel over the road, the ladies get to just stand out there and the bouncers just stand out there because gangster. Brothels. El Presidente keeps, well, president of the Council of Government, which makes him prime minister really, but he'll come on TV and say, we're going to have a clamp down, we're going to get rid of all the brothels and prostitution. It's there, with signage, with pictures of scantily clad women with spotlights on. With its own car park, for fuck's sake. Where are the police? They're busy dealing with people buying off the lucky men and homeless people in a field. 15% battery on the phone, folks. If I don't get through this soon, I'm going to have to get the EcoFlow and plug in. So if I'm not done, we're on 2:28, 2 hours 28 minutes. If I'm not done by 2 hours 35 on the clock, tell me. Otherwise we'll be in danger of losing power, and that can knacker things up. Where am I? Down and out in Beverly Hills. Yeah, got there. We've got Tom called. Okay, to Pepe. Okay, we got to the bottom of that column. Okay, folks, Friday continued. So yeah, the bloke waited until 1 hour after dark and then came. So 1.5, nearly 2 hours. That night, lying in bed. So this is Friday night into Saturday morning. Clunk. Mousetrap. One dead mouse. No messing, no ifs, buts, nothing. Honestly, folks, after being plagued for 3 months, to have like almost total eradication in the first week. That was the first mouse of the week on a Friday at kind of midnight-ish, whatever time it would have been. Yeah? Incredible. Now, I'd said earlier about how I'd been coppering up, how I'd been taking the 20 cents, 10 cents and stuff and going on up to the shop because I'd got no money in PayPal and I got no money on my card. Get this. This is incredible. My friend Karen offers to put some money on my card so that I can do the tippy tappy purchase thing. I say, but I've got no money. She, oh, we'll sort it later. Thank you, Karen. I told you Karen should have been in the thank yous. I told you Karen should have been in the thank yous, didn't I? Always. Karen should always be in the thank yous, always and forever. She put money on my card when I didn't have any money, so that I'm not sat in a field, desperate, doing without. Seriously, Karen, thank you. That's tremendous, folks. That's tremendous. I did that weekend. So this is Friday night. Sunday night, Sunday midnight is when the money would go out of my account to Labara. It's when I need to pay my phone bill. So putting some money on my card made sure I was able to pay my phone bill. Now, if you remember from the previous month, where they took some money they shouldn't have, and I'd had to put some extra in, and I'd argued and had it refunded, I had €5 sat in my Libara account. So even though my bill is €15 a month, I only had to put €10 across to make it the 15, so there'd be enough. But that was a big help, and that left me enough money in the on the card for, you know, random little purchases for over the next week. Typical week, folks. I spend. It can be as little as 10. It can be as much as 25 or 30, but that would be unusual. That might be like the week where the phone bill is due as well. So, you know, that's 20 per week is probably a good average, I would say. I've not sat down and added up the checkbook stubs, you know what I mean? I've not done accounting. This is not an audited account. But that would be my ballpark. Anywhere between 15 and 30, but probably 20 on average-ish. Plus, obviously, people bring me things. Friends. Tom bringing me a meal. Adela bringing me what can be 2 or 3 meals, really. Karen will bring me some shopping when they're over. Anthony, when he's in town, he's just left. When he's in town, he'll bring me breakfasts 2 or 3 days, 2 or 3 mornings in a week, and maybe a roll of cash, a bag of coins with an occasional note. Anthony, and a few cans of beer. Always appreciate the beer, cold beer especially, folks. I'm a tramp living in a field. This tent will become an oven over the next few months, especially with having a second skin over the top, with having a tarpaulin. It will get hot in here. I've got my cool box. It only gets down to about 13 degrees, so it's not cold, but ice helps. If you bring me things and they're already cold, that helps. So yeah, I am helped by people, and I appreciate everybody's help. I sit here sometimes sounding a bit flippant or a bit irreverent about it. I don't mean to. It's just my sense of humour. But cold beer is better than warm beer. Okay, folks, where am I? We were on Midnight Friday, weren't we? and Karen was chopping my card up for me. So into Saturday morning. It's Friday night into Saturday morning. Rained on and off all night. And yeah, halfway through the night, I've got 3 or 4 separate places that are dripping over the bed. Fortunately, a good 3 or more of them are within a confined circumference. I can put one bowl under and get most of them. There'll be one off to the side. I put the picnic blanket down or a towel. It gets a little bit wet, but manageable. But what I didn't realise at the time, I've spotted this after it stopped. I sat, after the rain stopped, I sat watching a drip down the side of the tent. So not through the roof, but down the sides. And here's what was happening. The tarpaulin on the side of the tent had come inside. So the wall had torn and part had blown away, but the base, the bottom wall, was still there, like 18 inches high or so. And then I'd put this tarpaulin and a toldo, an awning fabric, down. But in the wind and stuff, instead of being outside of the tent fabric, the edge had lifted up in the wind and come inside. And so all the water that was coming down that wall was being channeled, not into the bedroom, but inside the tent, inside the outer skin of the tent, and on the floor under. And then it comes through any of the holes in the floor, in the bedroom floor. So because you've got two skins, you've got the tent floor and then the bedroom floor. Well, it's in between the two. The water's there, and any holes in that bedroom floor, the water comes in, wets the mattress, and that's what's happening. So this is why my bottom mattress was wet through again, and the top mattress was starting to get damp as it all got absorbed up. Let me check. I'm on 11% battery. Okay, I'll keep going for a little bit. Hopefully we're there now, aren't we? We're there. We're into Saturday morning. Although I am aware I haven't been looking at chat. If there's been lots of chat, there's quite a bit, isn't there? Tell you what I'm going to do, guys. Just hang on. Here's what I'm going to do. First, I'm going to help my Tina up and onto the bed. She looks like she wants to get on the bed. Do you want to get on the bed, sweetheart? Let me help you. Oh. And then I'm going to get the EcoFlow and plug the phone in. Come here, babe. Well, no, not come here. Go there. Hop up. Hop up on the bed. Come on. Daddy help you up. Oh. Go. Go. I'll lift you. I got you. Yeah. And then you've got Elephant friend. Rah. Elephants don't roar, but you know. This one does. It's a rogue elephant. It's got rogue. It's attacking my Tina. Rah. There you go. You have your... Sorry folks, I'll be with you in a second. Just playing. Let me pick this up. What do I need to know? I think everything's right. Pick that up, put that there. Whoa. Okay, I've set the EcoFlow down on its own wires. That's... Whoa. What could possibly go wrong? Okay, which cable do I need? The phone cable is the dirty coloured one. Okay folks, I'll be right with you. Here we go. Yep, I got the right one. Normal service will be resumed momentarily. Here we go folks. Let me move this back in. Oh, okay. Wait for the light to what's the word I'm looking for? That's quite good actually. I thought I'd be more in silhouette with having the light from over there. That's quite good. I can't remember the phrase for it or the term for it. I will go back through chat after we do Sunday folks. So we're on Saturday. Not far to go now. So yeah. Yeah, one bowl put under all these drips and everything was sorted. Just a towel and the picnic blanket, waterproof side to protect the rest. But yet water was coming in and getting in into the mattress. Now I spent a good chunk of this day really early morning. I watched that you know, the Tommy Robinson documentary. Don't want to get into politics too much, but I watched the documentary called, I think it's called Silenced, and I found it really quite persuasive. And I was arguing with Professor Tim Wilson a little bit about it. He is kind of staunchly anti Tommy Robinson, and I was always quite neutral. But I watched the video, the video that's got him jailed because he released it when he was told not to. So he's in jail for contempt of court. Yeah. Anyway, I watched the video. That's all I'm saying. I spent that darkness from you know, early morning, from when the rain stopped dripping in on the bed until say 8 o'clock when I walked the dog, watching that film. And if you get a chance to watch it, I would recommend it. I'm not going to go off on one on politics, but I think the lad's been hard done by. I'll say that much. Touching on politics, not getting too involved. Let me get a quick swig. That's empty. Let me crack open beer number 2. All right. Thank you, Karen. And Ivan. Karen brought them, but Ivan sponsored. Everything feels too far away still. What's going on? I don't know. Something's weird. Something's changed when I've moved things around to help Tina get on the bed. Let's do this a second, look. Oh, second click. Does anyone remember last week when it was all working and it all took one click to switch? Are you guys looking at PayPal or so? I don't know what you're discussing there. I'm gonna come back to chat later. Just excuse me. Here's my girl again. Tina girl. Talk to the peoples. And she was just attacking her elephant when she first got on the bed. Tina, where's Philiphant? Tina's Philiphant. Grrr. It's attacking. No, I don't know what you're looking at. You spotted a fly. Probably. Okay, back to me. Star of the show. She's the star. There's the star of the show. Okay, guys. Okay. So anyway, Tommy Robinson documentary. All I'm saying is I watched it. I found it persuasive. If you haven't watched it, do. Even though the government are trying to put like restraining orders on it and stop it being released and blah, blah, blah. We're the boss, not the government. Anyway, 8 o'clock in the morning, dog walk in between the different rain showers. This is the day when Karen's coming back to Spain. She's en route with the tent on this particular Saturday. So thank you for that, Karen. Bringing a tent. It's a big. I showed the bag earlier. It's a pretty big bag. Don't think it would go hand luggage. So there'll be extra delays with her at the airports of checking luggage because she got a place out here. Because she's out here often. They're normally not bringing luggage, but they had to bring this big tent with them this time. So yeah, Karen's en route with the tent, which is good news. At noon, I make myself a coffee and a pot noodle, or pot poodle as I've called it here. And I had 3 or 4 pot noodles, and I'm trying to remember who they were from. I think it was Maren and her husband, whose name escapes me right now. Thomas, Maren and Thomas, I get there. Maren and Thomas, I think, were the pot noodle providers. I enjoyed them as a quick and simple. I know they're not especially filling. I know they're not especially healthy. Well, yeah, no. When you're standing there boiling water to make coffee, what extra does it cost you? Just an extra that much water for a pot noodle? Great. Thank you. I don't often get. I think pot noodles are quite expensive for what they are, aren't they? But I don't know, what are they? About €1 and a half for a single meal. Well, for a fraction of a meal, for a snack. I don't know. Pot noodles and pot rice. They're, I don't know that they're the greatest value, but as a treat, it's something different. It was okay to have. Now, the forecast says heavy rain. Yeah. Fortunately, the forecast was wrong. Only light. It happened, but it was only light rain. And this evening, this is when I spotted what I thought was a fridge next to the bins. And I came back, got the EcoFlow, took it up, took it back over, and my trolley. And so the idea was, take the EcoFlow, plug it in. If it powers up and and looks and sounds like a fridge, and if you open the door and the light comes on, then get it on the trolley quick and grab it, and be a real king of the tramps with a real fridge in your tent. Not just a fridge, but it's an extra flat surface. Yeah. If you look around here, folks, every flat surface gets. Let's just do this quickly because it's silly, really. But second click. See the top of that shelving unit on the right, yeah? Flat surface, covered in shit. Over there, the chest of drawers, flat surface, covered in shit. You see the box to the right of the bed, between the bed and the chest of drawers? Well, it's got a lid on it. It's a flat surface, absolutely covered in shit. See down here, this box, flat surface, covered in shit. Need I go on? You get the point. You give me a flat surface. Oops, hand over the camera. So a fridge would be a small one. I'm not talking about like a fridge freezer. It was just, about a meter high, whatever they are. But I took the EcoFlow over, plugged it in. It said it was powering up. The EcoFlow showed some watts going out. And after 3 seconds, it just went back to zero, which I assume is. And this is when I kept it plugged in. This is when I opened the door, and rather than seeing shelves and a light, I saw 3 drawers, 3 transparent freezer, not fridge, and probably the compressor kicking in after 3 seconds is when the EcoFlow realised it couldn't handle it and aborts. So that was a shame. It was in good nick, very clean, looked like it should be in perfect working order, and it's just put out by the bin. Imagine if the EcoFlow could have powered it and it was a freezer. There'd have been no problem with cold beer then, would there? No. That would have been excellent. Through the day while the sun shines, get it down cold, then just turn it off overnight. Just leave it closed, and it should stay cold. But the EcoFlow that I've got, the EcoFlow River 2, it's too low powered for that. If it had been a Delta 2, Delta Max, Delta whatever, probably would have been okay. But I can only buy what I can buy, can't I? You can only buy what you've got the money for. EcoFlow Delta. Okay, onwards. Those things hold about 1 kilowatt hour, I think. About 4 times more than, well, the base model holds 1 kilowatt hour. So it's 4 times more powerful than this one. I'm pointing down there, it's not there anymore. It's up here behind the camera. Anyway, folks, I'm waffling on. Let's get on with it. Let's get this done. Did I check that I'd got the right cable and everything and that it's charging? Why is it only on 12%? Oh, you guys, has somebody worked out how to do PayPal? Is that what I'm hearing? Let me... Oh, no. No, Josie, no. Darling, no. You did try it and it worked, but you're very naughty. Yeah, if you follow the link, you don't need my address because it's my payment page. You just have to follow the link, which I think you've just discovered. Thank you. But that's incredible. I mean, that's too much. That's... Oh, shucks, he says. Sorry, distracted by birds. That's phenomenal, folks. But don't... I get embarrassed. Thank you. Where am I, folks? Pot noodles, I think. Did I get... Oh, heavy rain only light. Oh, yeah, fridge. I think it's a fridge, it's not. Okay, so I get into bed, and it's Saturday night, so I'm getting ready for Big Clive and then Scruff Dog. And I've got a jar of hot dogs, haven't I? I've got a jar of hot dogs. And I've got bread. Now, the bread is just sliced bread. It's a sliced white loaf. But I've got mustard, and I've got ketchup, I've got bread, and I've got these sausages. Hot dog sausages in a jar. I'm not going to bother warming them up. For anyone that doesn't know, hot dog sausages are already cooked. Basically, everything in a jar or a tin is already cooked. Otherwise, it can't go in the jar or tin. It's part of the canning or tinning process. But anyway, so when you put them in water and boil them or fry them or do whatever, all you're doing is warming them up. Which, I'm a tramping the field. What do I care about warming them up? So I put them in a slice of bread, a little bit of mustard, a little bit of ketchup. Piccalilli would be better, but I'm in Spain and piccalilli isn't an option, I don't think. Once someone did get me a jar once, or bring me the remnants of a jar. Piccalilli does exist out here. I've got no idea where or how or who, but that would be my preference on a hot dog. Piccalilli, not American yellow mustard. Coleman's nosebleed mustard, maybe, but Josie doesn't like piccalilli. It's not to everyone's taste because it's got English mustard in it. It's got that strong nosebleed mustard. It must be made with Coleman's, I'm sure. But anyway, where are we? But there I am. I'm waiting for Big Clive and Scruff Dog, and I've got my hot dog. I got my hot dogs, kind of sliced bread just wrapped around the sausage. But hey, it is as it is. Oh, I've told this story already. I think as in one of the TrampCast hangouts. Maren and Thomas bought me this pack with about 36 of these cakes in. Like finger buns. So you got the bun, and each one's in its own little paper case, and then they're sealed in pairs, little packs of 2, and there's loads and loads and loads. I didn't have any onions to hand. I've done caramelized onions before with stuff like that, but this was just me sitting in bed wanting to eat. Anyway, folks, so you get these cakes in 2s. Sealed in little individual packs of 2, and they're inside this bigger pack of 30, however many. And I've not had one for a few days, and so I'm opening it in the dark, and I take one of them out, and I bite into it, and the texture doesn't feel right. Stop me if I've told you this one. I have told some of you, and I'm biting. Texture. What's different? The outer, it's like there's an outer, not a crispiness, but a staleness. Do you know what I'm doing? I'm eating the bloody paper wrapper. Because I haven't had any for a few days. I forgot about the paper wrapper. They're coming 2s. I've taken one out, and I've just bitten into it. And it's only when I get to the second one and I put my head torch on and I see, oh shit, paper. And I'm thinking, well, there must have been paper on the other one. Oh, fuck. Whoops! I ate the cake and the wrapper. An extra bit of roughage or fibre. I wonder how much protein or whatever is in the paper wrapper. But it was a slightly embarrassing moment. But here I am, revealing all, telling you all about my embarrassing moments. But then it's my usual Saturday night, like last night. I watch a guy called Big Clive bigclive.com, all one word. Dot is the word dot, D-O-T. So Big Clive, D-O-T-C-O-M. Over on Twitch. He's moved away from YouTube for his live streams because as a group we're too raucous and we egg him on to do things that get him in trouble. And his main channel has 1 million viewers and is his main livelihood. And so he doesn't want to get banned from YouTube because of the shenanigans we get up to on a Saturday night. So that's bigclive.com. And then we switch, back to YouTube for Scruff Dog. Although now he's streaming on Twitch as well at the same time, YouTube and Twitch. But that's not the week we're talking about, that's this week. But yeah, that's my Saturday night, watching those guys until usually about 2 in the morning. And then there's usually a Tina dog walk, 2 in the morning. Because we don't want accidents, do we, babe? Okay, guys, into Sunday. And it's a fairly usual start to the day. Solar panel out. Coffee, whatever, 8 a.m. dog walk. Didn't put the solar out at first, put that out at 9. Probably a little bit overcast to begin the day, maybe. To begin with, we were getting less than 25 watts, dropped to less than 15 at times. So that's not enough to charge when it drops below. So again, it's that juggling. If you're getting 16 watts or above, unplug everything and let the EcoFlow charge itself. If it drops below 16, drops to 15 or less, plug the phone in so that you're getting the use of those watts. And it's just a case of managing that. My notepad had been wet from earlier in the week when we'd had rain on the bed. I'd put it outside to dry. And I'd been having to bring it in and, avoiding the rain. If I hear the first drip of rain on the roof, get the pad back in. And this is one where when I did the TrampCast that day, it was falling apart. Pages were coming out. But yeah, the rest of the day, folks, is writing up these notes. Takes a good 2 hours, plus creating the thumbnail, then creating the stream. Did you get a proper thumbnail this time? Have you clicked through on a proper real thumbnail? Not just a circle with my head in the middle. Was the thumbnail a proper... Oh, and the name of the episode I should probably explain. Just as we're about to finish, I should probably explain the name. Episode 64. Will You Still Love Me? Beatles, yeah? Or was it just Paul McCartney? Can't remember. Will You Still Love Me When I'm 64? That's where I was going with the title. Just a silly bit of my humour there. But anyway, so yeah. This Sunday, preparing for TrampCast. Forecast says no rain till tomorrow. I got a message on my phone. It's going to stop raining within the next couple of hours. So yeah, and then we did TrampCast, and that was the week that was, folks. That was it. That was the week ending Sunday, April the 13th, 2025. Broadcast to you today, Sunday, April 27th, 2025. This was TrampCast episode 64. Will you still love me when I'm 64? And I know not to sing, don't I? Now, let's get back to chat. We're coming up on 3 hours. Bloody hell. Now, let me go back away and see where I last saw. Okay, I'm going to go back. Someone said something that confuses me, but... Hold on. I got to go back to a point. Hold on, Tina. I'll use them as cannonballs. Now, did I see that in just out of the blue? What is the average rent in Torrevieja 1 bedroom? Asks Thomas. You can get them as low as 300, an apartment for 300 or there, or you could when I was looking. I tended to go for 2 bedroom. I also shared a lot as well. Um, I rented a house, a whole house in my first year here, 450 a month. That was a 2 bedroom, full house, upstairs and downstairs. Joined on to other ones like a terrace house or a townhouse. But okay, I'm back to where Tim Timoney said carjack. You're stronger than a carjack. And people were talking about my friend or ex-friend coming around and saying unbelievable. Oh, again, we were discussing the potatoes as well. Cut them in half. Yeah. Spanish omelette. I could well give that a go. I could give that a go. Okay, let's work forward from there. Jumping off the bed is a thing if you're past 50. If it's a proper bed, falling off the bed's a thing. What angle does the local English language take, mate? What do you mean, like what accent or whatever? They're mainly Cockneys, they're mainly Southerners. Although I have met quite a few Leeds and that area last year or two. Maybe they're just more friendly and help more. Maybe that's why I'm meeting the Northerners. Or maybe they hear my accent and think Northerner, and so I attract the Northerners. Living in the wild does attract passers-by in a lot of forms. Yeah, mainly for help, though. This is the thing. A lot of people are curious and will talk to me. A lot of people will wave as they walk past. Some people will just head down. Don't look at the man. Don't look at the man. Do not look. Some people, the ones that get me, are the ones that drive by. And I'm to their left. They drive and they look right 90 degrees while they're driving down this horrible little difficult to get down dirt track. Those are the ones that get me. Friends, okay, I saw some of these as they happened. Use the potatoes as cannonballs. Wrong kind of potatoes. Could be. Bicycle plus rucksack equals thieving gear. Yeah. That video of the flood stream still passing your tent and roadworks to alleviate it were interesting. Have I done a video actually showing water flowing? Or did I just talk about it in general? Don't know. Yeah, Tim Timoney there just listing off my supplies from Josie. Okay, what's this one? Chief, I know that live streamers like to clearly read out questions, otherwise it's difficult to listen back without context. This is why they have chat replay though. You just have to know how to use it. When you're watching back, not on the day, no, so not while it's live. When it's live, you've got chat as you've got. When you watch back afterwards, you have to leave it a while. Usually 9 or 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, my live stream will have chat replay enabled. So where there's a box that you can click for doing comments, you can swipe left, is it? And a box will come in from the right and you click into that and that enables chat replay. So you then get to see the chat synchronized with the video, kind of, sort of. It can be off a little bit, I've noticed recently. But yeah, they you can see the chat. So this is what I tell people to do. Watch with chat replay, then you don't rely on me reading the questions, because I don't always do it. Let's have a go here. Now I'm going to have a go at this name. Godmalaka Twage Unmekayele. How are you and Tina? We're great. Except for when Tina digs her claws into my leg. We've got our nice new home, all nice and up. We're just waiting to finalise bringing things in. I mean, obviously Tina's in a state of deterioration. Her back leg's not working. But we're coping. We're managing. I've got various harnesses and I've got the belt here that I use most of the time. We've got harnesses that we use sometimes from Adam and Mel. But more often than not, because if she shuffles on her bum, she moves the harnesses off. She pulls them off as she slides the wrong way. So for most things, just getting up and taking her outside or bringing her to drink water getting her up and on the bed, in and out of the tent. I have to be careful with the doorway. This tent seems to have a slightly higher lip around the bottom, a higher skirt, as I would call it, or threshold. So I use this. We're managing. We're carrying her, taking a lot of. First thing in the morning, it's like her back legs just don't work at all. This time of day, I take her for a walk, and her legs are there. They're not strong enough to support her, so she's taking most of her weight, or half of her weight, let's say, and I'm supporting and keeping her stable and upright. In the morning, I'm pretty much just carrying the back end. The back legs are just like dragging on the ground or crossed. They'll just cross and drag. So that causes me twinges with my back, because I seem to have developed I wouldn't say I've got a bad back, like it's not like a permanent fixture. It's just been here for 3 months now. It goes away, and then I just keep aggravating it. If you twist in the wrong way with weight in the wrong place, we're okay over the top. I'm just whinging. Doggy claws, yeah, when she tried to get up and on the bed, and instead of pulling on the mattress or on the bedding, she was pulling on my legs. There's always hope with solar. Yeah, when you get a cloudy day, you can just sit there and hope that you don't even need the sun to shine. You can just have a brighter spell, just have it not as dark, and start drawing some power. Thomas says that the tent looks nice and spacious. It is. It's a little bit smaller than the previous one. In all, like from outside, it's maybe 30 centimeters, a foot all the way around, a foot less. So 2 feet by 2 feet less, maybe. Another thing though, between the bedroom, where the bedroom is suspended, let me see if I can show you. I probably can't. Let me see. Oh, 2 clicks. So you see the bedroom, the black is suspended from the main tent. Down the sides, there's a much bigger gap, kind of that gutter between the wall of the tent and the wall of the bedroom is a lot bigger. So as well as losing a foot or 30 centimeters from each side, from the sides of the tent, I think we're also losing a good bit, like another 15 centimeters, just because that gutter, that gap between the outside wall and the inner bedroom wall is so large. I might look at whether I can store things in there. I don't know. Back to me. I might have to look and see whether I can find some way of turning that into usable space without touching the outer lining, because during storms, if you touch the fabric, you break the... Can't remember the term. It's a scientific term to do with water resistance and what have you. But you break that and it lets water in temporarily while you're touching it. So you don't want to have things touching the outer membrane. I know this. But yeah, okay. Onwards. How much more we got to go? 5-star luxury abode, says Tim Timoney. Tina is such a personality. Yeah, I guess. That's one word for it. I looked at TrampCast 001 the other day, and the castle is beachside and well overlooked with neighbours. Yeah, we're not far from the beach. The cliff tops are just 150 metres that way. We've got neighbours 200-300 metres that way, 150-200 metres that way. There are people around, and of course we've got this track coming right past the tent. We're overlooked. There are people around. Yeah. There was Rich arriving, RLRG. Top tip, rice in soup. Yeah, another one is pasta. Rice, pasta, lentils. A cup of lentils. You're going to need... The tip I give people, boil the water first. I do that anyway because I'm making coffee. So I boil a pan full of water, or the amount of water I'm going to need, in a big pan. So it's going to be enough for my 2 coffees and then to fill my small pan that I eat from. And so I boil the water first. I'll put the cup of soup into the or a packet soup, half of a packet soup. If it's a bigger packet soup, I'll put half of a packet soup in. Pour the water in, give it a stir, throw in rice or pasta or lentils, sometimes rice and lentils. Be careful how much you add. I'll put it back on the stove for 5 minutes, and then I will turn the stove off and leave it sat there for 10 minutes cooking in the already hot water. And then I'll look after, so we're quarter of an hour into the cooking process, I'll have a check. If it's near enough done, I'll just leave it at that. If it looks like it needs another 3, 4, 5 minutes, put the heat back on, put the stove back on. And that saves gas. Instead of just having gas on for 20 minutes and all you're doing is boiling water away, just for the first 5 minutes and then the last 5 minutes if needed. Saves power, turns a cup of soup into a meal for 0 extra cost. I mean, how much does a cup of rice cost? Tuppence halfpenny. Yeah. Tip top tomahawk. There you go. Quite likely he eats elsewhere. Plenty of bars do a daily specials. Is this, we're talking about Pepe? Yeah, he either eats out, eats takeaway, or buys ready-to-eat food like ready-made sandwiches or things. But occasionally, when he's short on money, he'll just buy the baguettes and the other stuff. But it's an expensive way to live. It's a lot cheaper just to buy shopping. Buy some potatoes and carrots and onions. Buy a cup of soup and I'll get other people to do it for you. It's a lot cheaper to eat. Buy a pack of rice. How much? I've lost track. Euro and a half for a kilogram of rice. Lentils, similar, maybe a little bit more. They're probably about €2 for a whatever size bag is. I'm not sure if they're 500 grams or a kilo. Kilogram of carrots is a €1.10, €1.20, whatever. It varies, obviously. They went expensive during the start of the Ukraine war. But yeah, you buy actual ingredients and make proper food. It's so much cheaper than takeaway, in my humble opinion. I do like a bit of fish and chips though, but I need other people to donate, as my friend Anthony did while he was over here last week. I think that was Jose asking about how to do the money thing, which she obviously managed. Thank you. Yeah, my address isn't there. Like I said, you click the link and it takes you to a page that is specifically my payment page. It's called something like PayPal Donate or something, but we wanted to give you that on Thursday, but forgot, so shut up. Okay. Thank you. And there's the Piccalilli comment. Josie doesn't like Piccalilli. I didn't even know that that Dutch would have discovered Piccalilli even existed. I didn't think it had travelled. Spanish sausages can be. Sausages vary around the world, don't they? Thomas is saying he bought some sausages in Pamplona and they were difficult to chew. You get different textures for the skins, different textures for the meats, and then you've got the spice balances, however they're flavoured, and if any one of those things is different to what you expect, they can be unusual and throw you off. I gotta say, I do like Spanish black pudding. What's it called? Something like morcella, morcellini, something like that. MORCELL, something or other. I haven't found a bad one yet. I do like Spanish black pudding. Some Polish sausage have plastic on them. What, the outer case? I mean, black puddings can sometimes have that as well. I don't know whether when I was a kid, I never knew whether we eat the outer wrapper of a black pudding or not. I still don't know whether you're meant to eat it or not. Default thumbnail showing Jack Attack says, "What a." When I put the when I put out the tweet, and I think the tweet went out with the thumbnail that I've given it. And I think the YouTube post, the YouTube like community post, went out with the thumbnail I gave it. Now these YouTube guys keep coming to me like I'm an idiot and asking, "Have you updated? Have you restarted your phone? Have you done this? Have you done that?" You know, like I'm an idiot. I'm basically a software engineer, web designer, and computer programmer. We didn't have the fancy terms that they got now, where they've demarked or demarcated all of these separate jobs with fancy titles, like a scrum leader and what have you. We didn't have all that. We just got on with the job. But they're coming to me and asking me like the most basic troubleshooting questions, and I'm like, "Go away! Just shut up." Well, am I there? I'm up to date. The Piccalilli. Oh, your father made it himself. Piccalilli. Hold on. In Holland. I didn't know you even knew it existed. It was there, seemed to change when live. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me, Jack Attack. The YouTube guys really don't seem to know their ass from their elbow, do they? Anyway, folks, we are on 3 hours 16. We are up to date. I will ask you any questions. Any more for any more. I will ask you on the way out of the door to hit that thumbs up if you haven't. Subscribe if you didn't. Donate, maybe? No, I'm all right now. I'm okay now. I broke my card. I've still got the PayPal account. We're still okay. I can send that to people and get them to give me the cash. So for now, we're still okay. But my card's been funny the last few weeks. The tap to go thing, tap and pay. It stopped tapping and paying. So we were having to put it in the machine and enter the PIN code. And the other day while I was emptying the tent out, I bent or twisted in some strange way. And the card in my back pocket bent right over the corner where the chip is. And the chip popped out of the card. And now the card is bent in such a way that even if you put the chip back in, it's not going to just slide into the machine. So my friend's going to get me a replacement card. But she has to be back in the UK to do that. And then I have to wait until she next comes out to receive it. So I'm going to have a while without access to the card. I can use it to pay my phone bill still, because they've stored the details and all I have to do is give them the 3-digit security code off the back. That still works. But yeah. But yeah, now there's a bit of money in the account thanks to Josie and Peter. Live chat, like me. They're deliberately condescending and difficult to avoid talking to. Yeah. It's bizarre to me that you have to go to Twitter to get the attention of the YouTube team to tell them that their software's broken. If you go on the live, it's not a tab anymore, live. If you go into the YouTube feed within the app, within the Android app, and you click live to see the videos that are live, there's a significant proportion of them that are just showing the default circle logo in the middle of the grey rectangle. Now, I know most people probably aren't setting up live streams from their phone, and are not conducting them from their phone, probably. But it's broken. It's broken, folks. It really is. Josie's dad did make piccalilli with bones and bacon. Yeah, boil the bones down for a broth, or if you keep boiling, then you can end up with like a gel, can't you? Like a gelatin. Bacon for the flavouring. Gotta have cauliflower in though. You gotta have cauliflower. And a few other veg. And then some vinegar and some mustard and whatever else. I don't know the full recipe. They'll readily help the money makers, everyone else. They make money off me because my channel should be monetized. So when they show adverts, I should get some. But because I haven't got a tax number in Spain, I can't properly be monetized. I couldn't stay monetized. So they're making money from the ads, and they don't have to pay me my share. Josie and her sister call it prison food. No. Thomas has never gotten an ad. Okay, well that's good. I frequently do in when I go to watch, not during, but either at the beginning or the end, a pre-roll or post-roll. I don't get them during. Part of why you like it. I've been watching a few of these sci-fi stories. They're all AI generated storyline, AI generated voice, and AI generated imagery. But I still like a bit of sci-fi, so I give them a go. And I was watching one the other day, and I will swear there was an ad every 5 minutes. It was an hour-long story, and every 5 minutes there was a goddamn 30-second unskippable ad. Ugh. Anyway, folks, I thank you for your time. Thumbs up if you haven't. Consider subscribing. If you're new here and have got no idea, then wait until you've watched 2 or 3 of my more normal videos rather than the TrampCasts. You are, of course, invited to TrampCast Hangout later tonight, which will be in somewhere between 2 and 3 hours from now. It will start. I got to have a bit of a rest and a relax in between, grab a bit of food, maybe finish my beer, walk the dog, and then see where we are time-wise. Somewhere 10:30, 11, 11:30, somewhere there we will start. Hopefully there'll be no ads then for you guys. But you're all invited. I haven't got any topics lined up. Anything's open. Anything's. Yeah. Let's not go too far off the rails with stuff though. But we'll see how we go, folks, and we'll see how tired I am as to how long we go, and whether there's enough of you and enough good topics. Bring questions, bring topics. Go read a science or an IT magazine or something, or a website, and come along with topics to discuss. We'll see where we go. I like to talk about science. I like to talk about IT and computers. We can touch on politics. We can touch on religion, whatever. It's all there. Any other topics that you might think of. But I think for now, folks, on 3 hours and 23 minutes, we're about done. We shall finish in the traditional style if we can, if she'll cooperate. Here we go. Oh, 2 clicks, I forgot. From Tina. And from me, Delta Mike. Out.